Once upon a time, there were two very silly Billies. These witless lads were known as Drew Agnew and Bryce Dewitt.
G'day everyone, it's us, your host for 200 episodes and counting.
This duo have been friends since early primary school, bonding over their mutual love of video games. Quite often, you would see these damp humans deep in conversation about games, discussing what they love about the titles that bring them joy. More often than not, you could safely assume they were talking about Nintendo. You see, Nintendo held a special place in the boys' hearts. Series like Pokémon, Super Mario, and The Legend of Zelda had a big impact on why they went on to make gaming their favorite hobby and start up their own gaming podcast. Whether it was The Legend of Zelda, Pokémon, Super Mario, Smash Bros, WarioWare or Wii Sports, the boys would spend the weekend over at each other's house playing games until the sun rises in the morning. Although, unfortunately, things started to change. When school finished and friends were starting to move on to different opportunities in life, having in-depth discussions about video games was becoming more rare in the boys' small country town. This, along with their general family and work commitments, make catch-up time together much harder to find for these Smash brothers.
Hey Bryce,
Drew said with a small glint in his eye.
how would you like to create our own space and record our own Nintendo podcast? A place we can catch up each week and share our passion for video games with each other.
Bryce liked the idea, but only if it included one thing.
That sounds pretty cool, but only if we have a beer fridge to put all our furphy ale in.
With that, the House of Mario was born, a grand building located on the border between the Mushroom Kingdom, Hyrule, and the Kanto region. Here, Drew and Bryce can discuss all their favorite Nintendo games while also sharing the passion with whoever listens in via podcast services such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Everything was going smoothly until episode 25 when the sadistic pair decided to read a Wario fan fiction live on air.
I need to give it some spice, by the way, she replied.
It only gets worse as it goes on, so have fun.
He blasted another spicy ass splat.
Ever since the show has had many critics, but none more brutal than Dev Diaries' Paul James.
As soon as I understood that we were talking about something that could potentially be erotic here, I thought, my job might be in a bit of strife. I read through it and gone, yeah, I could lose my job for this, so I'm steering clear.
After tormenting their audience with this crude fan fiction, they opted for a more clean and family-friendly show, albeit with a lot of F-bombs along the way. We give them some slack though, they are Australian after all. So, here we are today. Drew and Bryce celebrate 200 episodes of their Nintendo podcast, The House of Mario. Along the way they have played many games, covered 4 years of Nintendo news, drank multiple kegs worth of beer, highlighted music artists in the Nintendo community, and met a lot of good like-minded people who love video games just like them. But they must beware. Legend has it that if a fan fiction is read on a podcast, the characters from said fan fiction will come back 175 episodes later to haunt the episode. Good luck, Drew and Bryce, you will need it.
Bryce, do you hear that?
No, I don't.
Oh, I swear I heard something. G'day everyone and welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by a 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host Drew Agnew and the doors to episode 200 are open.
Holy shit.
This week on the show we're celebrating 4 years of the show by looking back at Nintendo Switch, our time doing the podcast and the house we've built together. And of course, to talk all about that, it's my wonderful mate, Bryce Dewitt.
200.
200 episodes, Bryce. Here we are.
That's a lot of episodes, man.
It is, isn't it?
Holy crap.
Stuck with it for 4 years. Here we are.
I'm avoiding using the F-bomb.
You've been called out.
I have. No, it's absolutely insane. And, you know, everything that we've built into this point. My God. It's hard to believe that it's only been, a few years now.
Yeah, because I was listening back to episode 100, so that was 2 years ago. And, at the time it felt like such a big thing, but 100 episodes later, it sort of just puts in perspective how early it was then. And it even feels really early now. I got to admit, sort of thinking back, it feels like it's been a long time, but putting it into perspective, and 4 years is a long time, especially on a weekly schedule. But
yeah, it is. Yeah.
But we still got a lot of energy in the tank.
Oh yeah,
I feel
absolutely. And like, the journey along the way in general, as the intro has very nicely described. We started off as kids that just love video games, and we're here now and like doing the content that we love. But on top of that as well, we've also just achieved many different things that we wouldn't have otherwise been able to do without it. We would turn up to PAX and AvCon under, content creator, I put in quotation mark passes. So we'd get entry to places like that. But, it was never necessarily just about that as well, but it was also interacting with the community we're involved with in podcasting and meeting a whole bunch of new people that way. And, just overall, I think that's what to take away from this is through our own passion of video games, we've somehow managed to find ourselves in a space where we've found other people that love video games, as opposed to just relying on the ones that we had that had left.
Us too.
Us too. In the end, that's what it was. Yeah. So we actually did something with it, rolled with it, and now here we are at 200 episodes. Episodes. Holy shit!
Were you thinking of rissoles, Bryce? Is that why?
Oh
you
mate,
said
I could smash a rissole.
You could smash a rissole right now.
I could smash a rissole right now.
I don't mind a rissole either.
I love me a rissole, man. Yeah.
I had a beef stir fry for tea. So
yeah, I could smell it when I walked in the door. I'm like, that actually smells pretty good. We had tacos.
Tacos, nice, man.
Yeah, man. Like, it was kind of just a situation where you have like a whole handful of people around the table, you make a pot of mince, and you just have a bunch of salad around it.
Yeah, tacos. I don't know if you can beat them as far as like a shared food. Like, if you make something for your house, like if people come over for like a house party, I don't think you can beat tacos.
No, because it's like that. It's like that odd premium taste of like, this is home cooking at the same time of being like, make it the fuck yourself.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right? That's tacos. All right?
Yep.
That's how good
there's
they are.
there's tacos, there's pizza.
Yeah, pizza, you can do that too. Albeit it takes a little bit more effort. With tacos, you can just sort of put everything on the center of a table and go and have at it, you scallywags. Yeah, there you go. So, it was good, man. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So tonight we're on the Kraken and Cokes.
We are on the
We're not
Kraken
having
and Cokes.
pre-mixed. We're celebrating 200 episodes.
Yeah, so you have to crack open a bottle for that.
Yeah. So I want to thank Ash Wallace, actually, on my birthday, bought me a nice big Kraken.
That Ash Wallace, that lovely man.
Lovely man.
That lovely man.
Lovely man. Because I just finished a bottle the other day. I think this is my last one. I've always usually got a really great supply of spiced rum, but maybe not so much now. We're getting there.
Isn't it just weird, like you think back to not... I was thinking about how old I am the other day. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Old man.
I was just thinking, like, 8 years ago, let's say about 8 years ago, right? We're sitting around drinking vodka, and we're like, you're getting terped off of vodka. And these days we're like, yeah, I quite enjoy a nice spiced rum, or yes, a good scotch every now and then is not so bad. And I'm kind of like, Jesus Christ. At least we've come a long way in alcohol taste, to tell you what, because vodka, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, with spiced rum, is that looked down on? Is that like a girly version of spirits?
Is it? I don't think so.
I don't know either. Like, personally, I don't care.
No.
Don't care.
No, I really like spiced rum, man. Spiced rum is...
Don't get me started on it. Don't get me started on it.
It's like if you put Bundaberg in front of me and you put a bottle of Kraken in the same space of it, and you tell me to drink one or my life is kaput, I will drink the spiced rum.
Yeah, well, yeah, fair enough. It's like, you have to drink this, otherwise you'll die. So, I guess I'll have a nice spiced rum.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Like, delicious. I could go for this. So, you have a spiced rum. But, that's the beauty of it. Kraken's just that damn good.
It is.
And unfortunately, it's ruined my taste for Captain Morgan.
It has. It really has. Captain Morgan tastes like just...
It tastes like swill now.
It does.
I hate it.
Which really sucks, because I loved it so much. And there's going to be that next step above Kraken as well, which is going to ruin Kraken. So we're going to be like drinking $100 bottles of spiced rum. It's like, we can't afford this, but everything else tastes awful.
Yeah.
Even the step up the Kraken, which is like $60 a bottle, compared to
This is why I like
$40 a bottle, you know?
This is why I keep my sprigs away from alcohol now. I'm kind of just like, all right, I'll have an alcoholic beverage every now and then. It's kind of like sochu that I brought in that one time that was minus 196. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, this is really refreshing. This is actually really nice. And then I'm kind of like, but I'm going to find something that'll ruin it. So
You will, yeah.
I'm like, don't get too attached. It's like green apple UDLs. Like I've always religiously liked green apple UDLs. Then they discontinued them. They don't sell them anymore.
Right.
And I really
They were
liked them.
nice.
They were like the only UDL that I like would actually physically seek.
You got me onto them when I was an 18-year-old.
Yeah, that's right.
Looking for my hit of alcohol.
It's the only vodka beverage that I still drink today. Yeah, I don't drink vodka otherwise anymore.
And I don't drink any vodka. I don't even touch the UDLs.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. So, enjoying the Kraken and Coke. Feel free to have as much as you like, my friend. I know you've got to drive home.
Yeah,
So
no, I've got to drive home. I can't. Like, I would love to sit here and sing Kraken all night, but that ain't happening.
that would be very nice. All right, so throughout the episode, we've got some very nice, congratulations messages from friends of ours, community members, etc., etc. So let's jump into the first one, Bryce. Let's make sure we get through them all as we talk. So the first one is from Sean Capri. We had him on last episode, 199. Really nice guy. Absolutely fantastic bloke. I love his content as well.
He's a beautiful human.
Beautiful human. First time I got to talk to him. Very nice.
That is very true. And you know what? After a discussion about Skyward Sword, he seems like the type of person I could sit down and have like an intelligible discussion with in regards to, like the logistics of a game that controversial. So, you know, that's a good thing.
Well,
know?
funnily enough, he's a podcaster. He can talk.
That's no, I mean like on a level where we're not just going to turn it into an argument per se.
Yeah.
You know, that's the beauty, and you know that's the beauty of it, I suppose. And I think like during that episode when we started getting like really into the Skyward Sword discussion, I'm like, I really want to continue this discussion, but I've got kids running around the house causing destruction and mayhem. I'm like, damn it. So Sean, another time.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about it another time.
So let's play his message.
Hey guys, this is Sean Capri, and I just wanted to say that the House of Mario is just a second. Hang on a second.
Hi, can I help you?
Hi there, can I please get 2 large Diet Cokes
Okay.
and a medium decaf with 2 Splenda?
Anything else?
That is all.
Personal, please.
Thank you. Oh, I just wanted to say that the House of Mario is the best dang Nintendo podcast on the entire internet, and I just want to say congratulations to Drew and Bryce. You're 2 good boys, and I really enjoy your show.
Oh,
The House of Mario is
Holy
more
crap.
than a house.
It auto plays the next one. Sorry about that.
You're gonna have to rewind that one now.
Yeah, we will. So Sean actually celebrated episode 200 of the Xbox Drive as well.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
So
did.
congratulations to that as well.
It's been a fucking huge week.
It has been, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. You know, you've got the Hungry Gamers at 250. 250. You've got us at 200. You've got the Xbox Drive at 200.
Yeah. Because
Week, man. Holy shit.
I was looking at the Hungry Gamers with Brendan White. It just popped up on my feed. I'm like, episode 250. I'm like, it felt like yesterday they were celebrating 200.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Holy shit. It's like, oh my God. We're coming so far. What has happened?
It is funny because, like, you know, with 200 episodes and 250 or 300 or wherever you're at the end of the day, it really doesn't. We don't really think about episodes that much. I think like we say them because the podcast is set up to say the title, like the episode number. But really, it doesn't matter. But you know, if we're not going to celebrate 200, who the hell is? So we're going to make sure we do it.
That's right. And like, you know what? Episode 200. There's going to be a 300. There's going to be a 400. There's going to be a 500. We're going to celebrate it the same way every time because at the end of the day, it actually marks 2 years.
Yeah, every 50 is a year, pretty much.
Yeah, every 50 episodes is rough. You know, it's about a year. Give or take the 2 weeks for maybe breaks for Christmas or something like that may happen. Yeah, we always hit 50 odd every year.
Yeah, I think we hit 150. I noticed the date was like July 14th last time. So we must have had a few weeks off. I think Christmas.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's understandable. And I think, like, you know, in the future that will probably happen again and again. But what I think is most important is just that the show is there, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know? Despite the fact, you know, if we ever miss a week, we're pretty vocal about it, and you know, we like to let people know that, especially, through the House of Mario Twitter. That like if we have to miss a week, then we have to miss a week. But other than that, like we'll pretty much do anything we can to keep the show running.
I just noticed with the ice in this drink, whenever I bring it up, it sounds so good in the microphone, doesn't it?
Mine probably sounds busy. Oh no, mine sounds
Oh
good too.
God, that sounds good. There's some ASMR for everyone.
Hey, everybody, we're classy, all right? We're classy as hell. We have not done this in quite some time. In case you haven't noticed, this is not a very Nintendo-oriented episode. It's more of an us-oriented episode.
Well, we are going to get into some Nintendo chatter.
I'm sure we will.
We are, yes.
But
Jesus. Hope you've got some good speakers or headphones out there, everyone.
Oh, man, that's... Yeah.
Do that some justice. Pour yourself a drink, everyone. I don't care if it's 8 o'clock at work and you got a full day ahead of you. Just pour a whiskey, man.
Pour yourself an iced coffee.
Yeah, because we were talking about this earlier. Like, we're talking about drinks, and I was imagining like someone listening to it on Tuesday morning, about to go to work, and like, oh my God, I want a drink, but it's too early. And this, I think Sam Hay was the one who said, "Yeah, that's me. I was working. He's a builder," and that's what I imagine every single time. Just like he's dying for a beer at bloody 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man, and I understand that too because working in the sun, holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
anything will do.
I think he's up in Queensland. No, New South Wales. So it's a bit hot up there.
Even still, yeah, you know. At the end of the day, you still want to drink.
Bloody hell.
The northern parts of New South Wales, holy shit, man, they're no better than Queensland at all.
No, I know.
They're bad.
When I was in Sydney, I was dying.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know how far you went up, but like we went up to Moree, which I think is like an hour from the border. I mean, obviously you went through it all the way, but you went up the coast. We went up the centre of New South Wales to get an auger, me and Barry.
Yeah.
We went to go get an auger, and that up there is just dry, up the centre of New South Wales. It is dry, man.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like, waste as far as you can see. Like,
That's why I'm happy we're near the coast.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It's not so shit here. Even like a few hours inland, it's like, don't know, man, I need some water.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're always gasping for it. You're like, holy crap.
All right, so before we go and reflect onto some Nintendo stuff for our Nintendo podcast, we'll also listen to a message from Afro Van. So hit play, and here we go.
The House of Mario is more than a house. It is more than Mario. It is a couple of guys super passionate about Nintendo and gaming in general that have absolute fabulous humour and very well-rounded discussions. Congrats on the anniversary, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Love your work.
Hey, man, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, my man.
Honestly. And you know what? That it is just something as short and sweet as that. Even that means everything. Honestly.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for so long, like sort of just under the pretense that we're hoping people would listen. let alone actually getting compliments about the show. So honestly, it's heartwarming. No matter whatever compliments we get, whatever even criticisms, just shows that you listen to the show and that we have something we can improve on. We'll work on that. So thank you, my man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for submitting that. Really does mean a lot to us. We take a lot of pride in what we do.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. I don't want to think we're just like throwing our nuts at the wall or something.
Throwing our nuts at the wall. So there's another one for the Bryce sayings dictionary. I love your sayings, man. Just fucking throw my nuts at the wall.
Yeah.
Like, throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks. I don't know about throwing my nuts at the wall. What will that accomplish?
Exactly. That's the point, man. That is the point.
Yeah, well, fair enough. There's a lot of stuff I do which doesn't mean much.
Holy crap.
All right, so let's reflect on the last 4 years of Nintendo Switch.
Oh boy.
And just like how we've been enjoying their products and the stuff they've been putting out pretty much, and how we've been enjoying covering them. Some of the things they've been doing well, some of the things they've been doing shit.
Yeah, that's right. I was about to say, you have to include some of the things we haven't enjoyed.
Of course.
Because there's definitely some things, especially lately, yeah.
Yeah, I think, lately it's been a bit
harsh. But anyway, let's start from the beginning and not currently.
Yeah, so we started doing this podcast on May 17th, 2017. The Switch was already out. Splatoon was a few months away. I think ARMS was a month away. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just came out. We had Breath of the Wild. We've been playing that for a couple of months already. Really enjoying that. So it was a great time to actually start the podcast after the Wii U. We did want to start during the Wii U era. Pretty much at the time, the Switch was rumored coming out. Because we did play the Wii U. We did enjoy the Wii U. We had a lot to say about the Wii U.
We started content on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Like, we started doing YouTube content on the Wii U. And, you know, we tried the best we could, and we did a little bit of uploading and stuff like that, and it went okay for a little bit, but it just got to a point, like, you took a hiatus to go on a holiday, and I'm kind of just like, I don't have the drive to do it right now. And I think that's mostly got down to the Wii U, where I'm kind of like... I just feel flat about this. And the internet too.
I think that was the biggest one. It's just like, when you upload it, you want it to at least look half good. And,
that's right.
And you just knew that it wouldn't with your internet restrictions.
Oh my God. Yeah, and that was the thing at the time, is when we started doing content, our internet was less than ADSL2. And that's shocking. That wasn't even that long ago, man. That was 5 years ago. We were still under ADSL.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We still did not have access to ADSL2.
Yeah, because, you know, I said earlier that it doesn't feel like that long, and it really hasn't been. But when you put it in context of, like, we were kind of in the Stone Age then as far as internet went, and that was only a year before we started.
We did not get ADSL2 before we got NBN.
Yes.
We were still on ADSL1 when we got NBN. Actually, technically, it was ADSL 1 Plus, but yeah. And we were uploading YouTube content at that point, and it was so difficult. It's like ridiculous amounts of hours trying to upload something to the internet. Like, at that time, it would have been a good time to start a podcast, but then in saying that, who wants to listen to a podcast about the Wii U? Nobody did.
Yeah, well, only the most hardcore group. I feel like it would have been a good idea because I don't know.
We could have gone into the Switch fresh. You mean?
Yeah, I don't know how many shows would have started up around when we did, because the excitement was there, because there was actually a product that people wanted to use.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the PlayStation podcasts that were big were because the PlayStation 3, there was only that hardcore group of people playing it.
Yeah.
So those people were looking for that content.
Yep.
Whereas like shows like If We Ran Nintendo with Sean Capri and Bobby, I think they might have had a bit of an advantage just because they were there when only the hardcore were there and looking for that content. I'm not quite sure, but regardless, I think we were ready when we were ready. I think like we started doing stuff a bit before. We didn't know whether we wanted to be Nintendo or just gaming in general, whether we wanted to keep doing stuff under the Pow Pows moniker, which we had before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we started when we were ready. I guess so.
The way I want to view it, right, is that like, you know, you could go with that, and you could just sort of be like, you know, we started at a time when everybody wanted to start Nintendo content, when Nintendo content was actually going to be good, right? But I think the question that sort of needs to really come into it is how many people actually stuck to that at the time. Because around the time we started, I remember heaps of podcasts cropping up.
Do you?
About Nintendo. Yeah. Because you've always been a numbers man. Like, always. You've always sort of checked the algorithms and stuff like that.
I can't help it. When I go to upload an episode, it's there.
Yeah, that's right. And he will get lost in a deep dive, and I have to tell him sometimes. I'm like, man, don't worry about it. It's all right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, we do this show primarily as a way to catch up. But then on top of that, you know, what we've built on top of it is the absolute, like, prized possession we've got out of just like, oh my God, like, you know, it blows us away. But primarily the show was always built off of just us catching up. Anyway, and around the time, you know, he was looking at other podcasts. He was looking at numbers. He was looking at more ways to digest the content that he was creating at the same time. And there was a lot of podcasts, Nintendo podcasts specifically, that started up with 1 to 4 episodes and then they stopped. There was, and like, to think about it, like it was anywhere between like 8 and 15 podcasts, just from memory. And, you know, throughout that time, since we've started, you know, there's been other podcasts that have cropped up as well. And, you know, they've sort of really, you know, put their bit in and stuff like that. Some of them have stuck with it, and that's great. And then some of them have not. And that's kind of like, I understand that, because it is quite an intimidating space to get into. It was for us when we were beginning to. I mean, we had to go up against things like we were looking at the bigger number people like Vooks and NVC and
NVC, yeah,
and all that.
Good luck.
We're kind of just like, holy crap, man! Like, you know, how are we ever going to compete to that? And we kind of just had to tell ourselves that we were never going to be able to. I think.
Oh yeah, no, no.
And I mean, we've done 200 episodes and we've made a pretty entertaining podcast. At least I'd like to hope that we have, right? We have a lot of podcast experience now. If we wanted to jump in on any podcast or whatever, we wouldn't struggle too much because we've sat here talking behind microphones for hundreds and hundreds of hours now.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I listened to episode 100 just to see where we were at, what we did, and my voice sounds different.
Yeah, because you're more pronounced now.
My voice sounds different. I'm like, holy shit, I sound different.
Yeah, because
I don't know if you sound any different, but I do.
Nah, you're more pronounced now, man. That's what it is.
Because I listen to myself, I'm like, I'm like blurring this, I'm slurring this.
Yeah, because
so I made sure that I'd try and correct that.
Well, yeah, because you're talking more often now, right? Like I still stumble over myself sometimes, but that's because my brain's stupid.
And I feed you fucking beer and Kraken when
that's
you come
right.
over.
Yeah,
that
yeah. And then my tongue goes, Dylan, what are you doing to me? Tranquilizer. Anyway, yeah, no, it's just as a thing, like we've just gotten more confident, and like especially when it comes to non-script content, I feel like that we've become a hell of a lot more fluid and just talking about things, like not even just, you know, talking in general, but just like if we start off with the topic of conversation, somebody shot something at us right now and they're like, what's your favorite Zelda game and why, or something like that, we'd be able to answer with confidence, we'd be able to talk about that Zelda game, why that is, and we'd be able to do it without much less of a thought.
You'd be like, Scarlet Sword?
I like it.
I love monotony.
I love Monopoly. What was that? No, monotony. It's monotony. Oh, yeah, I love Monopoly. Anyway, the point is that, you know, it's not that hard anymore. And like when we were sort of starting this out, it was like that. It was hard. And especially around the time of like the Switch coming out, there was a lot to talk about. And, you know, a lot of it was news, and a lot of podcasts that were talking about the Switch were talking about news, because this was a huge shift in what Nintendo were doing. Obviously, like you mentioned before, you know, the first year we had Breath of the Wild, Splatoon, Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey by the end of the year. And then a couple ports in between to sort of fill the gaps. We had ARMS as well. Mm-hmm. There was a lot going on in that year, and a lot of it was received extremely positively. Like they were hitting, like for the first 2 years at the very least, they were hit after hit after hit after hit after hit.
Yep. Like 2017 still is bar none. I know there's some amazing years, but 2017 is my favorite year of gaming.
Absolutely.
It was so much fun. I remember that year by each month with games coming out. Like just with the Switch in itself, like we were so excited for it. Like with Breath of the Wild, it was going to be an amazing launch title. With the Switch, it was just like, it was like the system I've always wanted. Because I remember I got a iPad and a Apple TV, and I wanted to play like that on the TV. So that's why I got the Apple TV, so I could play games that way. Obviously, like the type of games on the iPad, just nowhere near the sort of games I wanted necessarily. Yep. But I got like Game Boy Advance emulators, put it on there. Then Apple, or was it called, AirPlayed it to the Apple TV and controlled it that way. I'm like, I just want to put this in a dock and get my Xbox controller and play it like that. And then Nintendo come out and they make it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. And like,
Thank you, Nintendo.
Yeah, like it was like the system I've always wanted. Like looking at it now, 4 years later, there's definitely some things I want improved, and we've talked about that ad nauseum, as far as like Bluetooth and more power and whatever goes. But I was so stoked with what they've done, and just all the games that year that came out, even on like the PlayStation side, they had an amazing year as well. Like it was just phenomenal.
That stretch, there was like 1 month at the start of the year, like when the Switch came out. When the Switch came out, it was like Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5.
Oh, yeah.
Hit after hit after hit in the space of less than 45 days or some shit like that. And it was like, holy crap, man, how do you even keep up?
Oh, you can't.
You couldn't.
I didn't.
No, I couldn't
kept up
either.
with the Switch stuff.
I'm not like I mentioned on the podcast the other week, I'm not even playing Horizon Zero Dawn until now, and that game is awesome. It's great. Like, you know, especially when it was the big head off between Nintendo with Zelda and PlayStation with Horizon Zero Dawn at the time. I understand why people like both of those games.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
they both do things like incredibly well in their own right, yet while being the same game, and they were both deserving of like high ranking scores across the board. Persona 5 is considered one of the best JRPGs of the era, which is fan fucking tastic, and I'll attest to it. Persona 5 is a very good JRPG. And then, like, for Nintendo, the rest of the year, Splatoon 2 was an amazing follow-up to Splatoon 1. Introduced some really good PVM mode in... What was it called? Jesus.
What mode? You're thinking of the co-op one?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking of? Salmon Run.
Salmon Run. You got it. Salmon Run was awesome. The only thing that really sucked about it was time gated, but it was still fun as hell. I love Salmon Run. Salmon Run was awesome.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 was a banger re-release for obvious reasons. Mario Kart 8 in general was a fantastic game that never really got its time to shine on Wii U. So
It shone on Wii U, just people didn't have it.
No, that's what I mean. Is like the people didn't have the Wii U. So when it hit the Switch, and holy shit, its sales show just how good of a game it was. And then ARMS, that was a big newcomer to the ring. And ARMS is like, while I don't have it today, and like I stopped playing it after a couple months, ARMS was a very interesting new IP that I didn't really expect from them. It sort of just come out of nowhere, and they kind of hit us with it, and it's just like, they got these really extendable arms. I'm like, how does that even work? And surely enough, we found out.
Yeah. I love ARMS, dude. It was so fun,
wacky, man.
It just didn't sort of have that longevity that Splatoon 2 had. There wasn't as much there, unfortunately. But
there's not enough community events, and that's the problem. Is that with Splatoon, they're very heavy on once you purchase the game, like, and I'm glad that they still remain this way to this day, but once you purchase the game, that's it. There's no additional content until like it comes out for free, or and when it gets introduced, it's free for everyone, so it doesn't stagnate the player base. And then you've got Splatfests, which engage the community to play. And the single player got better in 2. It also got better with the Octo expansion. It was oh my god, the Octo expansion was awesome. I loved the Octo expansion. And it sort of just hit all those strides. But with ARMS, it was sort of a case of like, here's a character every now and then, and like it doesn't really work the same way as it does for Smash Bros. When you do that, even if they are free, because with Smash Bros, it's kind of like you've got the incentive. But with ARMS, it's kind of just like, I don't know who this character is, and they kind of look goofy to me, so therefore I don't really care. But you got people that are just like, I really love Ganondorf and how dark he is and how he punches everything. It's like, oh my god, you've got Olimar in this game? Wow! And then people will proceed to play Olimar over Ganondorf, despite being like really big edgy people that are just like, I love the darkness,
I love the darkness.
I love the darkness. So they play Olimar because they're just like, holy shit, Olimar's in this game. Holy wow. But yeah, like, and unfortunately, ARMS didn't get that appeal with its downloadable content. It had a fucking like amazing array of it though. Huge.
Yeah, no, it had wicked support. Just I think people lost interest. I think the big advantage Splatoon had is that they really cemented the world in the gameplay. Just the reason they're getting together, and the fact that Inktropolis was actually like its own place you could explore with different characters, different merchants, all that.
Yeah.
And ARMS had the exact same sort of lore just put into it. It's just it was put through slideshows. It was nowhere near as interesting or engaging.
No, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then we had a couple ports that year. I think we had Pokémon Tournament. We had something else.
Well, you had one of your favorites, not a port, but Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, you had Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Absolutely.
December.
That game, like, you know what the funny thing is about that game is that it was so inherently abashed when it came out by people who didn't understand Xenoblade.
Was it?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of like big content creators, like there was a lot of people jumping on it because Xenoblade Chronicles is like a niche fan base, always has been. And the people who played it absolutely loved it, and they were sort of always singing its praises and stuff like that. So when a second one was coming out, people were like, holy shit. And it kind of grew into a bigger bubble than it actually was initially. So a lot of big content creators started playing it, and they'd get like 5 hours into the game. They're just like, this is boring. So they'd sort of give up. I'm kind of like, no. I'm like, please don't. I'm like, don't stop there. I'm like, I know it's difficult. Some games just do this. They're long, man, and it's hard to sort of get through the first initial bit. But once you actually get up to a speed, it's a unique experience you won't get anywhere else. And that was definitely Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The combat in that game and yeah, I know it's 20 hours, but after 20 hours, the combat in that game ramps up. It introduces like a whole new open thing to you where you kind of just like, you know how to use things a bit better. You know how to orcs core things correctly. You know how to sort of, you have a few more blades to work with because you've like went and summoned a few more out of your like gacha / non-gacha system. And, It by the end of it, it was a fucking brilliant game. It's just a brilliant game that didn't get as much love as it deserved.
Yeah. No, well, I can't talk. It's still in my backlog, so...
You need to play.
I do.
You need to play the original too, though.
I know. I bought them both.
Yeah.
I like wasting my money. Just, look at that picture on my Switch.
No, I did that a lot in my Nintendo time too. I've slowly started to weed out the games that I'm like, you know what? Am I ever going to fucking play this? Because, like, I know that I'm not. I'm kind of like, I know this will be on Steam sale for $10 in, like, a year.
Yeah.
Like, I might as well just dump it.
It's one of the hard things, like, as a Nintendo podcaster now, whereas we're actually looking at playing these games to try and cover them, but, we've got different excitement levels for each title coming out. Some we just cannot wait, whereas other times we're just, I guess I'll play this. It looks all right.
Yeah. And I know that I'll get I'd say this every time about this particular title that I would get wrestled about it, but like it's kind of like Pikmin 3.
You're right.
Sorry, Paul. I'm sorry. I just don't have the drive to play it, man.
I'll be honest. The last few months, I've been really wanting to play Pikmin 3. I want to play it on Switch. Don't want to play it on Wii U.
Yeah.
But I want to save money, play it on Wii U. I don't want to spend $80 on Switch. So I'm just like, oh. So I'm just like, between a rock and a hard place. Am I spending $80 on Pikmin 3 in 2021? I don't know about that, boys. Am I going to play it on Wii U? I've got it plugged in. But I don't know if I want to play it there either.
Yeah, that's right. Makes it difficult.
Yeah, so I don't know. Bryce.
I don't know, man.
So yeah, 2017 was absolutely fantastic. I think it's one of my favorite years. Would it be one of your favorite years?
Oh, I think it was one of everybody's. The thing is that year was so big in every scope. Except maybe Xbox, but we know that Xbox hasn't really had a scope for a long time.
Yeah, I felt pretty bad for Xbox fans. They sort of had nothing. I think there was Mass Effect Andromeda. I felt really bad for them as well because like we're waiting for Zelda. Zelda turned out wicked. Mass Effect turned out pretty bad. I felt so bad for that fan base.
Because the thing is I know people that actually like Andromeda despite its flaws, but at the same time, the problem with Andromeda was not that people would be like, oh, I find the story bad or I'd find this bad. It's just, it was very clearly handballed to the B team just so they could make Anthem a game that flopped even more.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
you can buy Anthem for less than what you can buy a fucking meat pie for now. It's ridiculous.
I'd rather the meat pie.
Yeah, so
I mean, at least the bakery supports the meat pie with extra.
That's
content.
Right. They put extra spices in it, but it's kind of like, man, like you have this, you're like, oh yes, it's a beautiful franchise. Give it to the B team so we can make Anthem. God. And then they made Anthem, and Anthem sells less for what Andromeda does. Despite there being very, very obvious quality issues. But EA...
They're going to get you. They're going to get you.
Same with Activision. I still haven't had enough time to rant about that. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's disgusting what's going on over there. Let's not talk about that.
Not this episode, but holy shit, I want to talk about that soon.
I do too. All right, so let's go through the other years a bit more quickly. I think 2018, 19, and 20, they had good parts as well. Yeah. 2018, they kept on going strong with releases. Starting off the year with Kirby Star Allies. This was one of those games I talked about before where I sort of shrugged so hard I never bought it, so I haven't played it.
I haven't.
I played the demo. You got it?
Yeah, I haven't because Evie likes Kirby.
Yeah, I said, did you enjoy it with Evie? Did she enjoy it enough?
Oh, it's fun.
Because Evie loves Kirby.
It's just a simple Kirby game, man. Yeah. She's kind of fallen out of it. Evie's going through a very a very sudden weeb phase, like huge. Everything about Japan interests her right now.
That's awesome.
To the point where she's like, she's paying attention to the Olympics because they're in Japan.
Yeah,
like no shit. And Jade's like, well, you know, if you and Drew are going to Japan, you're gonna have to take her now. You can't leave her here. You know that, right? I'm like, yeah, I know.
Hey, we can take it.
Oh, I'm not worried about it.
Fun.
Just holy crap. Like, especially in this current world where we're kind of like everything. Oh my god.
It's like when we went to the Sonic movie and we brought we
took
wanted
it with us.
We wanted to go. Well, Bryce, we got to bring a kid just to make sure people don't look at us the wrong way. So one of these boys at a kids movie. We've got a kid. We don't care about Sonic.
So is that your kid? It's just like you two a couple. It's like, yes.
Yes, we bred together and formed this child.
Holy crap! But yeah, no, we took her to that, and she had a good time. And she still brings it up every now and then. Actually, she's just like, remember when we went to see the Sonic movie? I'm like, yeah, I do.
Does she remember I was there?
Yeah,
yeah,
she does.
That's cool.
Yeah. Your name comes up very often every now and then.
Does it?
It does, yeah. Because like she's a big fan of Miku, man. You're a big fan of Miku, so I'm just like, I've mentioned it to her. I'm just like, Uncle Drew's a big fan of Miku. And she's like, oh, really? She's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, he's a big fan of Miku.
I've got to be honest, Bryce. Like, we usually catch up once a week. You come here, we do the podcast. But I feel like I should, come over and see your kids more often. I do love going around and like, because I can sit there and play toys and talk like a kid for all day. I fucking love it.
That's right. Yeah. And I think, I mean, we'll talk about it a bit later, but yeah. It is kind of a thing. It's like, I don't know, man. You've always been part of my life. Kids part of me. They look up to you just as much as they look up to me. When
oh God, I hope not. I hope they look up to you a bit more.
No. Especially Evie in the context space of like when the kids were watching us live the other week. Evie.
Oh right. Yeah.
Evie knows where your YouTube channel is if she wants to go and watch House of Mario stuff, just to see us on TV. Yeah. She does it. She does it, man. She loves it. She thinks it's fantastic.
Does the idea of your kids watching make you want to drop less F-bombs? Does it make you think about that, or is it just not really?
Not really. My philosophy is that they're gonna know it exists.
Teach them early.
No. They're gonna know it exists anyway. The important thing is that you teach them when it's appropriate to use it and when it's not appropriate to use it.
Yeah.
I think because at the end of the day, no offense, but like in this day and age, they're gonna learn it from wherever the fudge they want.
When you're teaching your kids when is appropriate to use the word fuck, you're going to be like, all right, Evie, say you're having a discussion at school. You're talking about The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and you're getting very emotional about the outcome of this video game. You're allowed to say,
yes.
You're allowed to say, fucking Skyward Sword is too goddamn linear and it's too repetitive, for fuck's sakes. And that's the situation.
That's it. No, no, it's more in the context of like you don't use the F-bomb in public spaces with people you don't know, and you don't say it to your superiors, and you don't do this and you don't do that.
Do not.
And she's very good about it. She understands that this concept. It's Arthur I'm a little bit more worried about as he's getting a bit bigger, because he's a little bit more of a wild child, and he will just run with things as he sees necessary.
Fair enough, yeah.
So it's kind of like it's not too hard to teach Evie, but as Arthur grows up, it's going to be a bit harder to teach him. And I'm sort of getting there, but we'll figure that out as time comes on. But yeah, I think that's like regardless of where they hear it, they're not just going to hear it from me. They're going to hear it on YouTube and whatever. It's not that hard anymore. It's not like when we were kids and like we'd have to go to funnyjunk.com or some bullshit.
Oh my god!
to see a JPEG of a man behind a fry can and go ding, brother done.
Oh, I still remember on Newgrounds finding Polly the penis.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
How old would I have been then? I would have been 9.
Yeah, but that's 9. They're seeing that half their age and half your age now, my friend. They're seeing shit like that half your age now.
Yeah, because even at
You don't
9,
have to
I did
look for
not.
it anymore.
I did not sort of think about what I was seeing. I thought it was. I thought it was funny, but I did not know what I was saying. Anyway, so before we get into 2018, Bryce, let's hear a message from Brendan, Tam, and Zach from the Blowing Cartridges podcast. So let's chuck them on here.
Good day, Bryce and Drew. This is Brendan from Blowing Cartridges podcast, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host Zach Clark, and we're here to congratulate you for 200 episodes. We're on 20, and we think that's pretty good. Like, 20 has a 2 in it and a 0, but you have another 0 in it, and we think that is a special thing, don't we, Zach?
Yes, if there's anything society has become obsessed with, it's donuts and zeros over the last year, and you've got one extra, which means you're, extra good, extra special. So congratulations on 200 episodes. Very happy for you both, and very excited for 200 more.
Here, and as always, thank you very much for your support and friendship. We greatly appreciate it. Keep on kicking on, guys, and hopefully you get Reggie on one day. I'm waiting. I know Zach is as well.
Oh.
Our bodies are ready for Reggie to open the House of Mario's door and come on inside.
Our bodies are Reggie.
Now, we are certainly ready for Reggie as well. Don't you worry about that, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the nice message. Like, Brendan especially has been with us since the very start.
Dude, he's been with us since we were kids.
Yeah.
Literally, no kidding.
Part of the Aussie Nintendo network. And
That's right.
it's just... when they started the Blowing Cartridges podcast, I was just so happy that someone else was jumping into the
yes.
space as well.
And dude, I loved my time on the episode that I did with them
Yeah, we've
regarding
both been on
around
it.
emulation and sort of like the hacking sphere of Nintendo, like Nintendo or gaming consoles or whatever you want to call it. It was a hell of a lot of fun. I loved talking about it, and you guys are very intelligent human beings that I loved having that discussion with. So, and
Must be a nice change of pace, have a conversation with an intelligent person.
We're monkeys, man. When we get together, we're like peanut brains. We're like, oh man. So it's good. It was amazing to have that conversation with you two, and like down the line, I do hope to get back on Blowing Cartridges again one day. You just let me know whenever that time is necessary. I think you pick guests out for the situation extremely well.
They're very good at it, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Like, they were listening, well, at least Brendan was. I'm not sure if Zach was, but Brendan's like listening through the podcast, hearing me talk about the Wii U. He's like, can we talk to you about that? I'm like, yes, you absolutely can. So,
Good scouting.
That's exactly right. And he scouts extremely well, that man, that Brendan Tam. He's very good at it, man.
What the hell was that?
I don't know, man, but he's a good man, that Brendan Tam. The first time I ever got to meet Brendan was the last PAX we actually went to. That was the first time I'd ever met him in person. So that was very elevating to see. Sort of culminate in this little podcast booth as I got to have a discussion with. At the time, it was Luke and Tam that joined us, as well as Ash and Tom, who we were staying with. Mm-hmm. And it was brilliant. And unfortunately, we went through a lot of hurdles to get that episode going, but we got it eventually.
Got half of it, yeah. Yeah, but don't talk about that.
Oh boy,
it's annoying enough when we lose an episode, let alone someone else loses it for us. But
yeah, that's right.
Learned our lesson there, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, they hooked us up for the trouble.
Oh, so, no. Audio Technica were fantastic.
Oh yeah, they were very sincere about it, and because it sounds a bit weird, but like all that effort to sort of set up and stuff like that, only to lose everything was devastating. That's like our big episode cap off for PAX sort of thing. So it was kind of like, holy crap. But no, they were very sincere about it. They tried as hard as they could to get us what they could, and they compensated us for free swag for what they couldn't. So
yeah, well, they gave us a discount code which we went on and upgraded our microphones with.
That's exactly right.
Which was nice. We're using them right now.
Right now.
Right here.
Right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
delicious.
What'd you say? Delicious. Oh, delicious. Yes. Okay. Well, so 2018, Bryce. Was this the year Smash Brothers come out? I actually can't remember. Or was it 2019? I can't remember.
No, it was 2018.
Was 2018?
2018, surely. Holy crap.
I was trying to look it up the whole time, but my internet wasn't working.
Every song contains a whisper of time. We don't remember anything about Smash Bros.
So I went to bring up a list just quickly. I'm like, oh my god!
Oh my god!
After all of my organisation, I didn't get a list of games up.
Smash Bros. Ultimate apparently.
Ultimate.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate definitely did come out in 2018.
Yeah, I thought it did. Like, I can't remember anything in 2018. Smash Bros. We were so hyped for Smash Brothers. It was insane.
Oh shit! Yeah,
they did like just the announcement of it. I remember I was on the way to Adelaide, and there was a Nintendo Direct happening live when we were driving up. So I hooked my phone up to the Bluetooth. Chantel was in the passenger seat. I was there with the phone was like on the dash on its little phone holder, and I was just pretty much listening to it, glancing over every now and again, see what's going on. But when the Smash announcement started with the Inklings, and then like the flame comes up, and you see the Smash logo in the Inkling's eye. I no joke, it was nice and early in the morning. Chantel was asleep in the passenger seat. I went, fuck yes! Like, and she's like, so what? I'm like, no, they're Smash Brothers! Smash Brothers! I was like, finally! And oh my god, I was so excited. So excited.
I feel sorry for Chantel. They would have given her a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, no, well, I couldn't help it. There's only a few franchises, a few games out there that get that reaction out of me, and fucking it's definitely Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
tell
right.
you that.
Yeah. Without any cause of doubt, especially after what happened with Wii U and 3DS. Like the DLC, it was kind of like Return of Mewtwo. It's like, oh yes, beautiful. You got Lucas, like, oh yes, beautiful, and then you're like, Cloud.
Yeah, just what?
What the fuck? Ryu. What the fuck?
Yeah, there's Wolf as well.
Wolf. Yeah. Because we were like, where the fuck did Wolf go?
Yeah, because I love Wolf.
And then he come back and we're like,
yeah, and it turned out to be his was it Star Fox Zero version? Oh. Yeah, have to.
Star Fox Zero.
Oh, but it
more
makes
like
it-
Star Fox Zero. Fuck them, am I right?
Kind of, yeah. That's another game where I looked at and went,
You know what?
it's like it came out like the same time as like Uncharted 4. I'm like, I think I might get Uncharted 4. And Overwatch. There was a fair bit of stuff in April of that year, 2016.
Did you? It's a bit off topic, but just like the conversation sort of come up on Twitter the other day. Did you actually notice that? Where it was like people are actually questioning whether Uncharted was actually a good game.
Yeah, I did see. I said that was coming up, and actually, it was at.
I think Jono commented on it.
It was what PlayStation podcast was it? PS I Love You from
Yeah,
Kinda
that's
Funny.
right. Yes,
they were talking about it. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's like, no, it was pretty good.
I think the argument is that people think it's a good interactive movie and not a good video game because it is just cover to cover gameplay.
Well, it's easy looking at it in 2021, where it's like, it's not that good. It's just shooting stuff and moving on to a cutscene. But at the time, like, there was no other game sort of really embracing the story like Uncharted did.
Yeah, but that's where it comes down to: is it a better interactive movie or is it a good video game?
Well, I know.
Because jumping puzzle sections in Uncharted weren't that fun to navigate, and they kind of set you back for monotonous reasons. And then cover-to-cover shooter gameplay is not exactly uncommon, and it's very standard.
I'd say 2 and 3 are kind of like, even like the original 3 games. It's kind of like, I mean, I'd like a little bit less gameplay and just watch the movie. But Uncharted 4 definitely sort of corrects all that, and that's a fun game, just from a gameplay point of view and all that. So,
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. But anyway, on from that.
So Smash Brothers, here we fucking go.
I just had to get your opinion. Well, yeah, they're not going to put Nathan Drake in Smash Bros, so we need to stop talking about him.
That's right. Yeah, imagine if they did. Would people be happy, you reckon?
No.
It's like, what?
Why?
Why is this naughty dog in my video game?
Not that naughty dog.
Not that naughty dog.
Every soul contains a whisper of woof.
Yeah, so this was also one of the moments at PAX this year where we were very lucky to get the media pass and all of that. For PAX in Australia, we get an hour on the show floor before the public goes on, so we're able to go to the booths and get less line-up time pretty much towards the games. And that year, there was actually this year as well was a fantastic year. I'm thinking about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Luigi's Mansion 3, Pokemon Let's Go. They were like the main games we're really excited for. There's a bunch of indie games on there as well, which we went and played. But obviously went straight to Smash Brothers. That was our first time getting to actually feel the game.
Yeah.
Because graphics wise, it looks very similar to the Wii U version, but actually getting to play it. I played as Mario, I think the first character I played as, and just like his animations, the way the game felt, it just felt so different. And I haven't actually played the Wii U version since Ultimate. So I would imagine if I went back to that, I'd be like, whoa.
What the fuck?
Like, it just feels completely different. And that was the first sort of thing that just blew me away, was just how different the game felt.
Yeah. Without any question of a doubt. We had Inkling and Ridley to play as well.
Yeah.
And Ridley felt very overpowered with his side B.
He did, didn't he?
But I mean, they sort of semi-corrected it, I think.
Yeah, we've had like 2 years of patches now.
But yeah, no, we did. We spent most of our time sitting there and smashing that, and
oh my god,
quite
I love Smash.
Literally and figuratively. But you know, that was also, you know, just that was a huge wake up call for me, because I think that was my first PAX year too.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, it was, because I remember in 2017 I went and met up with the another Castle Aussie Nintendo communities, and yeah, you went there. That's
right.
That's how I remember that.
Yeah, and then, you know, that blew my mind.
That is a good first experience.
But that's the thing, is like, it's not that I was averse to conventions. I went to conventions before, but it was mainly restricted to AvCon, where no video game company has a presence. It's mostly, you know, the video game side of it is mostly community run, whether it be Smash tournaments.
Yeah,
or
well,
like video
Nintendo
game
did start
showcases.
going to AvCon in Adelaide.
Yeah, they did, but it is not the same level as PAX.
They're not showing off new stuff. They're just like, hey, this is what we got. Hopefully, we encourage you to buy one.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you know, anything to get your sales. Yeah, for me, that blew me away, and like, you know, that's never turned me away from PAX ever since. But like, you know, that it's not even just the show that it was everything as well, but it was you know, also the community and stuff like that. Like I was talking about at the start of the show, you know, that was huge. So for me to be like running around and playing all these new video games, or these games that I was really looking forward to, while also meeting a bunch of people that I'd been talking to or been interacting with for, you know, at the time, the last couple of years, I was like, wow. Let's go. And then Smash there being the first experience, that really bumped it up 500 tiers for me.
Oh, I could only imagine, because I remember my first PAX. I went with like a bunch of friends from school, so that might have been, was that could have been 2014. So I'd been going just like as just a normal member of the public for ages, and until we started doing this, and we met up with Brendan and the 8-bit collective, and it was sort of through that where we got the confidence to be like, yeah, we'll put our hand up, we'll try and get a media pass.
Yeah.
And it was actually our first earlier that year, AvCon was our first I guess convention we went to as a part of the media, and like Brendan, we said to him like, oh, we like, you know, what should we do and whatever, and he lent us his portable audio recorder.
He did,
and we ran around with that, just like putting out people's mouths,
everything.
So, hey, tell us about your game, please.
Yeah. Good luck fucking doing that in 2021. Holy shit.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's something I've not thought about, because conventions have been not a thing since coronavirus. But yeah, taking that thing around, having people spit on it, don't know.
Yeah, you don't want it anymore. Like, we kind of have to just go and talk about the experience we have while we're there. It's weird. Everything's going to change when we eventually go back.
It might be all right, but we might have to be like, all right, we're going to have to put masks on talking to the microphone. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it is going to be a huge change when we eventually get back to it, because at the end of the day, like, you know, you've got to be safe all the time, and you gotta, and you know, like, this is like, it's not an uncommon thing in like Japan for people to wear masks and stuff like that. For example, they're very conscious about getting other people sick and stuff like that, because Japan is very much about the salaryman lifestyle, where they're very conscious about you know, working what they're required to, and all that stuff, and that can be like 55 hours a week, so they don't have the time to get sick. So you'll see a lot of people in Japan who, like, for years and years and years, have always just worn masks out in public to avoid getting ill.
I still remember sort of, I forgot what it was, might have been a video or article, I can't remember, but I think someone just sort of asked a Japanese person, like, why do you wear masks out in public? It's like, we might be sick. We might not want to get sick. We might just want to have our own air. when we're out in public. It's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that we don't really view it that way in the Western world, especially like until now. Like
It's especially hard for us because we're out in the country. We're not in the middle of Tokyo as well.
No. But like even just being in the city, it's not what we were infrequent to places like Avcon and stuff like that. We did that over the years, and running through Adelaide, being idiots, we've done that too. We just never really thought about it from that perspective of like being sick can really put you off, and can just happen. And now, like in 2021, we're like, now we have to consider like who we've got talking into our microphones.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy, man.
Well, I always sort of did this, but even with our microphones, like I make sure we're like using the same one each time. Just so, like, I don't spit on it for the next week. You're like, you're spitting on it as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Oh, God. I'm going to wash that now. No, but it's like, yeah, you know what I mean, though. Just, I guess, general cleanliness, even though I don't think you have anything in particular.
No.
And the times we've stayed at home.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think we're pretty responsible people. We don't want to get the fucking COVID. We want to go back to doing these conventions and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, post 2018, let's move on.
Yeah, so let's move on to 2019. But beforehand, let's jump into another sort of reel here. So let's jump into one from our good friend, IRL friend, Daniel Treadray.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dan, take the stage, please, friend. Please.
What's up, Drew and Bryce? It's Dan here. Congratulations on episode number 200 of the House of Mario. I'm super proud of you guys. I've seen how hard you've worked, and you deserve all the success that you've had to get to this point. You've managed to build a tight-knit community centered around your shared love and passion of Nintendo, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I hope you're cracking a few furfies tonight, and here's to 200 more.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dan. Very much appreciate it. A crack of furfy for you, my friend, as well, but we're having just cracking tonight, no furfies.
Yeah, we're cracking.
Yeah, well, the thing is, boys, so if we have a beer this time, I would already be asleep. An hour into the podcast, already be asleep. Beer puts me to sleep.
You need a bit of sugar in your system.
I need a lot of sugar in my system.
Wow.
Wow.
Keep your diabetes rate up.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Jesus, I hope not. My family has a history of diabetes, so I think I'm buggered anyway.
Yeah, but you don't want to force it.
No. But to be honest, I really like Coca-Cola, Bryce, so I might be forcing it as it is.
You know what? Yeah, you're not wrong. I still remember the plenty of nights that we were talking about earlier we spent just fucking drinking Coca-Cola and playing video games. I don't have a history of diabetes, but I don't think I'll be far off.
You got to create a history of diabetes.
Probably.
Jesus Christ. All right. So 2019, I remember this year in the Nintendo realm of things, just mainly with Pokemon Sword and Shield. Just it was a long time. We've been wanting a Pokemon game on the Switch that wasn't Let's Go. I enjoy Let's Go, but we wanted the proper RPG. So it gets announced. Then at E3 2019, the news broke that the National Dex was not being included. Pokemon were being cut. It wasn't including all the Pokemon. There was only going to be 400 Pokemon. And just with the history that we had with the Pokemon series, Bros and I, we'll sort of
upset.
we're kind of at breaking point. We're just like, like the 3DS games, they just didn't really do it for us. We saw sort of corners cut just with the move to 3D. Obviously, for Game Freak, the move to 3D was a massive shift. It will take more time to make these models. It will take more time to make the environments. It'll just take more time to develop the game. But
yeah.
And corners were cut because of that, because of the timelines. And looking at the Switch version, we're kind of just like, all right, this is going to be a brand new start for Pokemon. Looking forward to it. Like the graphics look nice. The wild area looks like a lot of fun to explore. Like, looking good. But just sort of with this, it wasn't so much for like, oh no, I can't play my favorite Pokemon. It was just like, things aren't improving in the shortcuts department.
No.
So like a lot of the year, it was like, it was us feeling doom and gloom. It was the community feeling doom and gloom. And when the games came out, I did really enjoy it, but the game was what it was. I think ultimately though, I really did enjoy Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think it's just because I I pinched myself on the arm and went, you know what, just fucking forget about this shit. Just enjoy it for what it is. I think I did at the end of the day. But
I don't think Sword and Shield objectively have done everything wrong. I think that like, you know, Pokemon has always been about like it's a solo game until you PvP. Like that has always as it has been, you know. Trading is one thing, but trading is just to help you progress your single player experience. It's not an actual cooperative effort. But like, you know, as Sword and Shield got on, you know, like Dynamax raids was like a big thing. You were like, wow, this is a cool idea. Didn't work very well, but it was serviceable, right? And then they had introduced Dynamax Adventure, and honestly, Dynamax Adventure, fantastic.
it was really good. It was really fun.
It's really good, and they're just going to toss it next iteration.
Yeah, well, hopefully they implement it and evolve it. I know the series doesn't have a history of doing that. They just, you know, chuck it away. But when it comes to like the PvP, not player versus player,
PVM.
PVM?
Yeah, player versus monster.
Is that what it's called? Player versus monster?
Yeah, that's what they consider.
Is that what Pokemon call it? Okay.
No. That's what like it's an MMO term technically.
Okay. Yeah.
They have PvP and PVM. It's player versus player or player versus monster.
Right. That wasn't the term I was looking for, but man, that sounds right.
PVM is a very good term.
No, absolutely. You are versing a monster. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Right, yeah. No.
Education here. Good for Drew. So yeah, they definitely do need to include that because I think a lot of people, they're not interested in building a competitive team. They're not interested in, you know, battling each other. Who's going to be the very best? Even though that is like the whole mantra of the anime. But I find it a lot more fun being like, Bryce, do you want to take on this dude?
Yeah.
You want to get some loot?
Yeah.
As far as Pokemon goes, and it's just like sort of copying a lot of what other games are doing with the, you know, the trends of, you know, beating the scene, getting stuff, cool, move on, keep building up your monsters and all that. But yeah, I was pretty happy with Sword and Shield at the end of the day, even though, you know, it was what it was.
It was what it was. Yeah, and that, like that's all you can really say about it. Is that you know, it was a good enough experience. It was serviceable. It's very obvious where the shortcomings are in. I'm not even sure I could say the company, but like Game Freak. I'm probably more leaning towards the fact that the Pokemon company are too interested about pushing out a game at Christmas, and like,
of course, yeah.
You know, if they had delayed that game a year, it could have been awesome. And I'm really hoping that Legends Arceus sort of turns out in that regard of like maybe hopefully they would have learned their lesson a little bit to, you know, allow this to be a good experience.
I think it will. I don't want to get too much into future stuff because we will get into that
I know,
when we get to that topic.
Yeah.
But as far as Legends Arceus goes, they don't have brand new Pokemon, brand new, you know, whatever for the anime, the card game, all that to adopt.
Yeah.
So they do have more leniency to actually push that when they're ready. And that's why when everyone's concerned about the release date early next year, I'm kind of like, well, I don't know if the Pokemon company will be pushing this one in particular because there's not too much other IP involved with this new entry in the series. So I don't know, that's hopeful, Drew speaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully it turns into what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. All right. So 2020 wasn't that long ago. We're trying to forget 2020 for the most part, but Animal Crossing. Let's remember that.
Holy shit! It boomed.
Animal Crossing was fuck. This was big.
Animal Crossing was indeed a fuck.
It was a fuck. It was just massive. I could not believe how big this was. I remember talking to Bobby on his podcast, Breaking Bells. He had an Animal Crossing podcast, and when I love Animal Crossing. Got into an Animal Crossing Wild World and adored it. There was myself. I shared it with a couple of you guys. You guys enjoyed it. Like, you know, you thought it was good, but I was like really into Animal Crossing, and my friend Olivia loved Animal Crossing as well. So I always felt like, you know, the Animal Crossing dude within the group. But man, I go on that podcast, I don't know fucking jack shit.
No.
Compared to their community. It's such a hardcore group. And I remember him saying, like, oh, Animal Crossing, it's going to sell big. I'm like, oh, you know, it'll sell pretty well, but I don't know if I don't know if it will sell, you know, more than Pokemon or Smash. Like, surely. Fuck it, smash those. Smash them by 10 million.
Holy shit.
Last time I looked, like 33 million copies sold in a year. Like,
it come at the right time.
Yeah.
Come at the right time.
There's definitely an aspect to that. I think it would have sold really well anyway, but there's no doubt that people are stuck inside and they want something happy, cheery, something to play all day, distract themselves. And that's just Animal Crossing. Just
Yeah,
bullet
it
points
did it.
one
Yeah.
by one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
100%. And it made it like, I know that as time has gone on, people have sort of come out and they're sort of like, there's a few things they step backwards with, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I agree. But the fact that you can modify your entire island meant so much to Animal Crossing. Like, it wasn't just, you can fund this project to make a park bench like it was in New Leaf. It wasn't just like something as simple as that anymore. It's literally like you could terraform the land like a god and make structures out of nothing. And you're like, holy fuck.
yeah. When you say like a god, I do wish you could literally do it like a god and go like at like a bird's eye view
yeah.
and like do it like Civilization or something. Where you're actually like chipping away
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
then it'd make it too short. Like
True.
that's kind of what they had to deal with at that point.
I guess you still are the character. You aren't God, so maybe that's something they kept in mind.
I think the thing is that like Animal Crossing is always meant to be a progressive day by day game. Like there's no shift out for that.
Yeah.
That's how it's always been. So it is kind of like, there are times when I'm tempted to go back and just be like, all right, I'm just going to restart this shit. But then I remember like the tutorial.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, the tutorial in New Horizons is the biggest drain off of the game.
It is, yeah. It's a shame, but it
takes too long.
It's so much like the other Animal Crossing games didn't require you to go through that much hurdle just to enjoy running around and talking to people.
It was great when you just sort of got to the end of it, because like the thing is, the problem with Animal Crossing, right, is that you have all these modification tools and you can do more than ever, but moving a house around, oh boy, that's just going to cost you time. And then like it's also going to cost you bells, and then it's going to cost you more time and more bells and more time and more bells and more time and more bells. And you're kind of just like, man, I don't want it to cost more time and more bells. I just want to move things around so I can like fix up my island to be some ultra amazing thing.
Yeah, I think they did like take away a lot of the busy work kind of involved with moving around houses and getting stuff exactly how you want it. But there's still that bit there where it's like you can't do it in an afternoon.
No.
It makes you like, unless you want to cheat, which I do consider it cheating, time traveling. Even though it's fun to do, it doesn't matter that much.
No, it's Animal Crossing.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with like, I know like, I remember Bobby saying this as well. I think of Bobby all the time. Whenever I think Animal Crossing, I think directly to Bobby as well.
Of course you do, because that was his thing.
That was his thing, yeah. And yeah, I really do miss watching his Animal Crossing videos. But just... He mentioned that he time travels. He's against it, but when he's making content for it, he has to. Otherwise, otherwise he's going to be sitting there waiting for it to happen. It's like,
you have to be ahead of the curve when you're making content for a game like that.
Yeah, this isn't Drew just sitting there, be like, no, I'll wait for my flowers to grow. He's like, I need these fucking flowers now.
Yeah, so I can fucking talk about how the fuck to make them so people can start doing it without them time cheating themselves. And that's the problem. And like, I think that is just sort of it. And I mean, you know what? And there is the thing though, the Dream Suite, man. I'm so glad that exists in New Horizon.
I loved it in Animal Crossing New Leaf on 3DS where you did like the street pass.
Yeah.
And like those people's houses get added to, I forgot what it's called now, but they get added to like the neighborhood or whatever. And you could go in there and just check out random people's houses in there. I thought it was so cool. Like oh, look, I passed this person in Adelaide. Oh, look, this is their house. And if they found my house, it's like, oh, what's this wooden bed and a bug? Because I find myself, especially in the new one, I don't really care about the house. I'm upgrading it, but I don't care about what's in it.
You care about everything around the house.
Yeah, I care about like my little like plot outside.
Yeah.
What I'm doing with like the neighbors on the hill.
I do that too, man.
Yeah, I don't care what's in mine because
I care about how the village looks.
Maybe if I went back for the Mario update, I would put like power stars and all that stuff in there. I think that would be a lot of fun. But before it was just like your standard stuff.
Yeah. There's a droplet on your laptop. Sorry, mate.
Droplet? Oh, yeah, just pointing them. I'm like, oh, what's going on?
I got to wipe that off for you, mate.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to 2020. And before we get into that, we'll play a message from our good friend at the Explosion Network, Dylan Blight.
The House of Mario is the best podcast to be listening to if you want to hear some live erotic fan fiction readings. Meow.
Sure is.
Hey, House of Mario listeners, Dylan from Explosion Network here. wishing the House of Mario boys a very, very happy 200 episodes. 200 episodes! It is an absolute milestone, a massive amount of episodes. Who reaches 2 episodes? A couple of people. Most podcasts struggle to reach 20, 25, 30 episodes. 200? Oh, it's insane. It's insanity. Congratulations to the boys. Here's the 200 more. And as always, it's the only Nintendo podcast I listen to. It's the only one you should probably be listening to. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening to it now. Enjoy the episode. Happy have a good episode.
I've been listening.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dylan. Holy crap.
Yeah. And Platinum Explosion, they're up to 220 episodes.
They are. Yeah. Jesus, man. We're all getting so big. We're all getting so big.
In numbers, anyway.
Wow.
In episode numbers.
It's crazy how big we're getting.
No, those guys at the Explosion Network, we've been friends with them since we started, pretty much. They started, I think, a few months before us. And yeah, just really, really enjoy your friendship. And I've got to be honest, Bryce, you know, since PAX hasn't been around for, you know, pretty much, it will be 2 years, because I doubt we're going this year. I definitely know you aren't.
Yeah.
But I'm most likely not either. I haven't heard back from PAX. And I was kind of relying on that for my ticket.
Yeah. It's
But
kind of hard.
I wasn't too worried anyway, because, you know,
chances are it wouldn't be happening.
yeah, that's right. And just like my confidence in going to a crowded area in Melbourne across the border was also a bit wary as well. But just like a lot of those guys, we haven't seen them for coming up 2 years, which is...
It's been so long.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like really craving just to go, hey man, how you going? Like catch up, have a beer. I don't care about going to booths or any of this shit at PAX.
We need to just find a remote location we can all go to and hang out. I mean, we were discussing this before COVID even happened. We just should do it one time.
Yeah, because a group of podcasters I listen to, PSVG, in the States, they were thinking about getting a house, having a house party, whether it's catching up or recording podcasts or doing whatever they're doing there. I'm like, dude, we need to do it.
That sounds so good.
We need to do an Australian version of that.
Yeah,
just
that
like
sounds so good.
Bunch of people, get your vaccines, get your stuff in order, come into a house, just play video games, have some drinks, catch up.
Look, man,
record a couple of podcasts, have everyone a guest on each one. That'll be so much fun.
Just run around the room with portable microphones shoving in each other's face.
Jesus Christ.
That was me providing my COVID contribution to that early, sorry.
Yeah, I hope not. You're just all over my microphone. Oh no, Bryce.
Oh, I'm dying anyway. But yeah, no, seriously, that would be so friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously for the foreseeable future, we kind of got to, you know, ease.
Next year, if it looks okay, I would love to do it. I'd love to organise an Airbnb, whether it's in a location between us all. Try and work it out.
Yeah,
try and work it out.
Yeah,
Not in Melbourne, though. Not in Melbourne.
No.
Too congested.
I'm thinking like remote Victoria somewhere or something would probably be the best bet.
Pick like a small town. Yeah.
Because it is kind of like, I mean, most people would already be travelling to Melbourne anyway, so it is kind of just like...
To the airport, yeah.
You know, kind of just like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, so what are we up to? I guess the end of 2020, we didn't talk about Horror Warriors. This year was always just like, all right, so what's next? We're kind of understanding that coronavirus just hit and kind of crippled every single video game company, every single person. So, like, you know what? If Nintendo doesn't release anything for the rest of the year, that's fair enough. And Animal Crossing was kind of holding them anyway, so it didn't matter too much. But we had Mario All-Stars, 3D All-Stars come out.
That we did.
And this was a rumor throughout the whole year as well, which we were following. And we're like, oh, a remake of Mario 64. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, Mario Sunshine. That'll be nice widescreen. Oh, Mario Galaxy Portable. Oh, yes. But it turned out that it was just like just ROMs. Put it into a little package, $80. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. At least you got the option.
It was the start of it was the start of something bad, a bad reoccurrence.
Yeah, at least you got the option to play them on Switch. You know, that's not necessarily letting them off, because they should just have a virtual console.
Yep.
And this is going to be something that I'm going to talk about later, but just like, well, I'll talk about it now. Just like, you know, with the announcement of the Steam Deck and all this stuff, one of the things I'm most excited about is like, oh my God, I'll put like a Nintendo 64 and a GameCube emulator on this thing. wow. It's like, wait a minute, why isn't Nintendo doing this? Why am I looking at a completely different platform to play some of these games? Because on PC, fans have like done a nice widescreen of Mario 64. They've done a nice model of Mario. They've updated it. And Nintendo themselves can't do that. They can't even widescreen it. And I would have been happy with a nice widescreen of Mario 64. That's all I wanted.
Yep.
For the company that made it and has the assets, I'm sure they could have done it.
They could have.
Especially when they're like, hey, $80. This is the same price we charge for Mario Odyssey. Could you imagine how much more
It's
it costs?
a fucking incredible game.
As just like from like a business perspective, like imagine how much more money and assets and time they spend on Mario Odyssey, and they charge the exact same amount for like, we've got this in the vault, let's chuck it together.
I don't want to talk too bad about them, but you can really see where business has taken over Nintendo coming in from that point. Because people like Iwata and Reggie, they're gone now. You know, then.
I mean, they were very business focused as well, but I guess what you mean. I guess what you mean.
They were business focused for, you know, very obvious reasons. They're businessmen.
Oh, yeah.
They were also very passionate about what they were doing. We don't hear anything from Doug Bowser. We don't hear anything from Furukawa.
No, we got like the heads at like at Nintendo, like the producers that come up and talk about their games, whether it's Anuma talking about the Zelda stuff and talking about Mario and all that. They get like the heads of those, but we really don't hear from the very top.
These ports and stuff like that, like it's business decisions that have to run through people like that. And they're bad business decisions. They're business decisions that I don't think Iwata and like people like Iwata would have let through.
It is interesting. Would Iwata back in the day have Mario 3D All-Stars?
I don't think he would have. I think he would have been like, this is ridiculous. Because he is the man that actively went back and looked at Game Freak and they were like, dude, we don't know how to program this game. And he was just like...
Well, they sound like cavemen.
He's just like, fuck you. He gets in there and he fucking codes it so it can fit in a whole nother game in there. Like, holy shit. And he did that out of passion, man. That's what he did. He would have done more for Mario 64 and Galaxy and Sunshine in that collection. Absolutely.
I guess just devil's advocate, he is also the man that said the Wii U was fine to mass produce as well.
Look, he was, but, you know, in hindsight, that console is not... It's bad, but it's not a fucking terrible console because
sure
it has a lot of good software. I've said that for a long time. It is a very, very good virtual console machine.
But imagine if he said, all right, let's try something a bit better and also make good games for it.
That's right.
Just throwing it out there.
I mean, they made good games for it.
Of course they did.
The hardware was the issue at the end of the day, and like the problem is that that's always been a Nintendo problem. They've always been behind the times on their hardware.
I mean, I guess
their modicum of success solely depends on how well their gimmick works, and their gimmick at the time was fucking terrible, and that is the only reason it failed so hard.
I guess just to round out this conversation, Iwata was the guy who greenlit Miiverse. In Miiverse, we got so many cartoon dicks. So, Iwata, thank you very much for that.
Miiverse, we got a fucking hilarity.
Oh, I love Miiverse. I miss Miiverse because they go from literally running a whole social network to not having a messaging system in their friends list. It's like, how do you pivot so much?
Yeah, because I saw that many, like, my dad touched me messages on Miiverse, and I'm like, okay, this is not a good idea.
You know what my favourite thing about the Wii U was? Oh, apart from the games? Because the Wii U had a 100 friend limit. And Shuhei Yoshida from PlayStation, he was head of PlayStation First Party at the time. He put out his I forgot what it's called, Wii U ID. And I'm like, yeah, so I had him on my friends list the whole time. So he's always popping up and saying what he's playing. He's posting on Miiverse and stuff. I think he has 2 daughters, so he's always playing like Nintendo games with them and stuff, and he's posting like stuff on Miiverse. So I had like a really weird experience just having Shuhei Yoshida from PlayStation on my friends list. And I think I sent him a message. I said, hello Yoshida. I sent him like a smiley face with the Wii U gamepad and stuff. I don't know if I might have actually got a response. I cannot remember. I think I got a response because I'm like, huh, cool. I think I got like a smiley face back. So funny.
Wow.
It's just like, yeah, that was a really unique thing. Like, I love Miiverse. All the memes. Sorry, not the memes. The memes.
The memes.
You did get a lot of memes on there, though. Yeah, nah. That was great. I miss Miiverse. It'd be a nightmare for Nintendo because you're just sitting there like, all right, we got to like detect these phalluses and get them off. We got to get rid of them.
What's this? It's like Barbie's Great Cave Adventure or something like that. It's like, hooray! It's like, let's check the post. It's like fucking hentai. You're like, oh god.
Oh jeez.
God damn it. No, because that's exactly what would happen. Fucking Miiverse.
Yeah. No. Jeez.
And then, like, people are playing Smash Brothers. It's like, this game is great. And it drowns out the sound of my parents arguing about their marriage in the background. Like, stuff like that. And you're like, holy crap, man.
So I hope this is a joke. Like, I understand it. It's a very plausible thing to happen, but I hope that you're not in that situation because that's no fun at all.
No. I would say most of it was an
Hope
absolute joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Anyway, so let's move on to current day 2021. But before we do, let's jump into a message from our good friend, House of Mario Discord community member, Jamie Penning.
Hey Drew and Bryce, it's Jamie here, just wishing you guys congratulations on reaching 200 episodes of the House of Mario. It's a fantastic Nintendo podcast everyone should be listening to, and we look forward to hearing more episodes in the future.
Jamie, thank you very much, my friend.
My friend. He's a friend of the community, man.
Everyone loves him.
Everybody loves Jamie Penning.
Yeah. And just like the other day, he recommended Buddy to do a Formula One review. And Buddy actually paid him back. He sent him a copy of Donkey Kong Country 2, I believe.
Yes, he did.
So just like everyone's just like, this man is just the best. And I remember Jamie because he started listening to us in early days, and especially in the early days. Not that it's not now, but just like every listener we got like, oh my god, someone's found us, Bryce. This is amazing.
Wow. And start a Discord.
Yeah. So it always meant a lot to us because I remember he was like, even the small things like, oh, this person liked our tweet. Oh, this person retweeted us. Oh, cool. Maybe he listens. And then he got involved in the Discord community and he left us an Apple Podcast review. And I won't forget it because this is when I'm learning to edit a podcast. And at the end of the show, when we do a Nintendo Jukebox, where we highlight a member from the Nintendo community, put a song of theirs on. And I think it might have been a bit too loud. So he said, at the end, it's a bit too loud. It sort of burst my eardrums. I'm like, oh, no worries. I'll make sure. And I think I overcompensated a little bit sometimes. I made it very quiet. I didn't want to upset Jamie, you see. Didn't want to upset Jamie. Otherwise, he'll bloody...
The thunderous god.
Yeah, no, he'll come and leave us another review. I'm like, fucking Jesus.
It's like sitting on atop, what do you call it? Olympus with his thunderbolt ready to go.
Yeah,
He's like, House Mario, wait and make a mistake.
Yeah, because I don't know if we were one of the first podcasts in this sort of circle of Australian podcasts, but he went and listened to like a lot of stuff from the other guys as well, and that always meant a lot to me because like I want to push people like from us to everyone else in our circle. Yeah. I think if we're going to grow, I want other people to grow as well. So
look, like I'm 100% guilty that I'm in the medium of podcasting, but the actual amount of podcasts I digest myself on a regular basis is very low. Mainly because I just between like general life stuff, I don't really have the time to pay attention, but I want to pay attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, like, when I do get the time to pay attention, I chuck on a podcast. I'm like, brilliant. I can, like, listen to it and stuff like that. But I've listened to, like, patches of just about everybody's podcast, right? Within our community. I don't think there's a single show that I've missed. And they all create brilliant shows. All of them. And so, like, if we can push people from our community into their spaces as well, just to sort of, like, check them out, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so thank you very much, Jamie. We really appreciate your support over the last few years. Really do appreciate it. All right. So 2021, Bryce, Nintendo Switch. We're at the moment. Yeah. It's gone on. Don't know how I feel about it. It hasn't been the most sort of invigorating cycle. It started off with Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Which is all right.
Yeah, and I'm really happy the game got ported. I really enjoyed playing through it again on the Switch. We did talk about in the past where we said we did enjoy 3D Land on 3DS more than we did 3D World. And honestly, I think it might just be the aspect of the type of game it is and the fact that 3D Land was portable. Yeah. I remember taking my 3DS to school and playing through levels and making sure I get the 3 coins and 100%ing it sort of just on the bus and stuff like that. With 3D World, it was very much, it was a very different experience. It was summertime, came out November 10th, around there, 2013. Mm-hmm. And I remember just like really enjoying it. It was a fun game. It's a great Mario game. And when people came over, I'm like, hey, we can actually play this together. So grab a Pro Controller and we'll play together. But that was like a really nice sort of different experience. But at the end of the day, I did enjoy 3D Land a lot more. But playing it in handheld mode, I pretty much played all of the re-release in handheld mode. And I felt like I just enjoyed it a lot more because of that. So I'm happy they re-released it. I've gone through and sort of, played it all again. And it's just a really fun game. I loved like the jazzy music and everything. Just really great. But Bowser's Fury as well was a really nice add-on. By far, probably the best add-on they've added to a Wii U re-release, I would say.
Yep.
Just really fun. It's a nice 10-hour campaign. Like, it's nice and meaty. It's not too long. It's not too short. I think it's a perfect length. And just like how the open world works, you can really see that work well in a Mario game, which sounds dumb saying open world Mario game, but it works. It works really well.
Yeah, Bowser's Fury is definitely a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And what else came out this year? Like, obviously Skyward Sword came out, but I can't, like Monster Hunter from Capcom. That was a big one.
Really good good game. Fantastic follow-up to Monster Hunter World. It does the whole, you can traverse the whole map pretty freely type of thing extremely well. And I've definitely had more experience in it than you have.
Yep. A lot more.
It's a hell of a lot. It's really good. Monster Hunter is in a really good spot right now, man. And then the other thing was Mario Golf, which
of course
we have talked about pretty extensively, but like, at the moment it is really starting to settle in. Like, we're having fun with it. We had fun with it. But it is really starting to settle in that content drought of them like not having enough in there.
Yeah, they needed that extra course what they announced at E3 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Like, really, they need it, like, keeping coming out.
Yeah, they do. They need constant flash because, like, at the moment, like, I have no desire. I'm like,
I don't either. And just
I still see people playing it. Like, Delfino still plays it. And, like, Mario sports games are fun, man, but they're not fun if you keep them stagnated for so long.
Mm. Yeah, because like the actual golf is fun, but just like the lack of a tournament mode is just, I've said this at nauseum, people are getting sick of it, I dare say, but that was a huge miss. I would turn it on and play for an hour, try and get a good score, post it to the community, be like, oh, look, I'm third. Oh, that will do. Then like move on with my day. But just the whole thing like, hey, Bryce, do you want to play? Yes, cool. Wacko Jacko, would you like to play? Cool. Buddy Watson, would you like to play? And just like, having all that sort of sync up in like, you with kids and different time zones, like, oh my God, just...
It doesn't always work.
So that feature missing, which has been in Mario Golf Toadstool Tour... No, not Toadstool Tour, it's GameCube. World Tour on 3DS. That was there. That was on 3DS. And people from... It's funny, Donnie Reese from Nintendo Shack, he was really looking forward to...
doing these,
and he actually started up the 3DS version again. But all right, well, this version is kind of crap. I'll go back to the old one, and it's just like that should not be what's happening. No. For like an $80 game, that is just, don't know. They might add it. I don't think they will. I think it is just courses and characters. I don't think modes or anything that big will be coming. So it is a big shame. It is a big shame. And at the end of the year, we will look at it and be like, it's fun, but fuck, man, it's not worth your $80. I tell you that.
Yeah, like at the moment, like at the time it was when people were playing it, probably was worth the $80 because you could jump in friends matches and stuff like that. And
yeah, the first day, maybe,
first week, maybe two.
Yeah, because like
now it's hard. It's hard to be like, all right, yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah, when we did our review, I said pretty much the exact same thing. Just like $80 is pushing it, but it's fun. You'll enjoy it with your friends. Now, like a few weeks on, I feel the exact same way. Just a lot of your friends have dropped off. So you don't have that option.
That's right. Yeah. The single player campaign's nothing to gawk at. You kind of just get through it. It's sort of whatever.
Mm.
But I mean, like, sort of moving forward on this year, when we sort of start talking about that a little bit more, I'm hoping that's where it's really going to pick up because this year has been so far pretty harsh. Skyward Sword, Skyward Sword HD turned Skyward Sword from a 40 to 50 hour experience to a 20 to 30 hour experience, which is very good because, like, my problems with Skyward Sword are lessened by a lesser gameplay time, which is good. But other than that, it's an extremely standard re-release as well. It's not.
Yeah, I feel pretty positive about it, but now I've got to kick in here because I was listening to the Nintendo Drive with Sean Capri and Kato, and Sean mentioned, oh yeah, it was on the House of Mario, and Kato said, no, those boys, they sound pretty nice. Yeah, that was a fun episode. But man, the spoilers. I'm listening to it. I'm like, yeah, Bryce gets pretty passionate when it comes to Skyward Sword. He just blurts out the whole fucking story. I laughed. You're just like, I hate the bit when you go and do this and that. I'm like, yeah, fucking. Yeah, it's just you're so passionate, man.
Look,
you just love Skyward Sword, don't you, mate?
Here's the thing. I understand a lot of people are rediscovering Skyward Sword in 2021, but holy shit, man, it is so old now. It's 10 years old.
Yeah, look, I get that, but it's been re-released. A lot of people are playing it for the first time.
Yeah, but I can't not fucking... Like, if I'm having a discussion about Skyward Sword 10 years later... man, I'm not going to be able to help myself. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I get that. I'm just putting what people have said out there because I was talking to Ash Wallace. He's going to be doing the spoiler cast with us. He's playing it for the first time right now on Nintendo Switch, and he's like, I was listening to the episode. I had to skip along. I didn't know. Bryce is spoiling it for me. But to be fair, like, you just said, like, at this bit, you know, you go back and you talk to this person, then you go back and you talk to this person. Like, really, you didn't get the context of the story with what Bryce was saying.
No.
You are safe, but I just thought it was a funny bit to bring up with you now.
The thing is, it's like I won't ever spoil the story of Skyward Sword because it's the reason you play it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you did not say the like pinnacle parts. And there's a few of them. There's a few of them.
No, so. there is one reason you play Skyward Sword, and it's for its story. It's not for its journey because its journey is so basic. Right? It's nothing to gawk at. So, if you're worried about story spoilers, yeah, I'm not about to drop the bomb on that. At least not until the spoiler cast. But you know, the actual journey of Skyward Sword itself, I was not going to hold myself back from it. I'm going to talk about it. It's 10 years old. It's a common complaint. If you go on YouTube and you type in Skyward Sword, people are going to tell you the exact same things I'm going to tell you on the podcast without any question. Like even if it's a spoiler-free review or something like that, they're going to tell you the exact same thing because at the end of the day, that is the meat and potatoes of what you're getting from that game. So, in terms of this year with that coming out, like it does make that experience more bearable. But at the moment, like Skyward Sword is their flagship selling title for right now. Like if you like go to a shop, you're like, oh, Skyward Sword HD out now. You're kind of like, yeah, man, it certainly is. It's definitely a lot more playable in 2021 with this HD version because it cuts out a lot of crap. But like, it doesn't change the core value of the game. And like, unfortunately, like with the amount of new people playing it, you are still going to find a very half and half reception to Skyward Sword, no matter what. I think I don't think it's not going to tip into positive and it's not going to tip into negative. I think it's always going to be a 50-50 response on Skyward Sword.
Yeah. Well, for the most part, I think I sort of mirror your opinions about the game.
Yeah. You do. Yeah.
We always have. Yeah. But I think I feel a bit better about the re-release. I think they did add some things that do improve it.
I'm not saying that they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's Skyward Sword.
Right, okay.
And it is $20 more expensive than the original release. And apart from looking prettier and having button controls and removing some text boxes, there's nothing else.
$20. Wii games were never $60. Wii games were never $60 all the way back in 2011. Because they were $100.
US dollars.
US bucks. Okay.
I always talk about it from the US dollar perspective because yes, that's what it, yeah.
Okay. But then it was $60 in America now. You know what I mean?
It was $40 US when it came out in 2011.
No, it wasn't.
It was pretty cheap. It wasn't that expensive.
It was 60, I think. Anyway, don't forget. I don't know.
It was more expensive. Like HD is more expensive than the original release. And again, like, you know, you could buy a package which would get you a fucking Wiimote for an extra $30. AUD.
Very nice Wiimote, as a matter of fact.
It's a very fucking good Wiimote. And like, you know, that's the thing that is the difference between then and now is that to get the same experience you would for Skyward Sword back in 2011, you would have to buy the game, the $110 Joy-Cons, the soundtrack, which probably come out separate for another $10 to $15, and by the end of it, you've paid for the same package and you've paid an extra $100 and something bucks. Like it is kind of ludicrous. My point is,
if I got the Joy-Cons with the Wii release, about what futuristic shit is this?
my point is, my point sort of stands at, like, you know, the actual game itself, the actual product itself, it looks prettier. Button controls make it a less of a pain in the ass to play. You don't have to constantly be standing up and going, yep, hiya, yeah, oi, yep, hey. So you can play for extended sessions, and you can play it anywhere you want. So you're not glued to the TV for it, which is great. That's all good stuff. And obviously the removal of some like things like constant text boxes and all that stuff is nice. But the core values of the game haven't changed. And with Breath of the Wild 2 coming out and stuff like that, like. I know that there's a lot of recompense about Breath of the Wild because a lot of people are like, I miss traditional 3D Zelda games. And I'm like, I understand to a degree because narratively, Breath of the Wild, while I think it's extremely interesting how they did it because they did it completely differently, it's not the same and it doesn't tell the narrative the same.
No, we'll go and play Skyward Sword. That will set you straight. That'll make you go back to Breath of the Wild.
I actually want to go back and play Twilight Princess soon.
Yeah, I'm feeling that as well, man.
I want to cleanse my palate, I think.
Oh, jeez.
There's just, like, at least, I actually might even do it before we do the spoiler cast, just so I can sort of, like, have a palate cleanse and just be like, right, here's me playing something that came out at the start of the Wii, and here's something that came out at the end of the Wii. And I'm going to compare the two.
Okay, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Go back to the Wii U or...
It's not going to take me long to get through.
GameCube emulator.
Look, it's not going to take me long to get through Twilight Princess HD. I love that game. I love Twilight Princess. It's great. Even though most people don't seem to for some reason. I'm not even sure why that is.
I don't know. I think they're wrong. I think that's their issue. Yeah, I think that is.
I don't get it.
That is the one debate where it's just like, oh, Twilight Princess, that sucked. I'm like,
how? How did you think that sucked?
I don't vomit much, Bryce. Maybe if I have a few too many Krakens, or I hear that someone says that Twilight Princess is shit. I think about the dungeons in that game, and I hear shit in the same sentence. I'm like,
they aren't.
What are you on about, sir?
They have brilliant dungeons, brilliant boss fights, a good story.
I might relate to maybe doing a few training things before you get the green tunic and you get to do some interesting things. Yeah, I get that. It takes a bit to get into, but I think a lot of Zelda games are responsible for taking a long time to get into. I think that's just the nature of a long adventure game, especially back then.
Oh, look, man, it has one of the best boss fights in the entire series in that game.
Yeah, has most of them, actually. To be honest.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to what's going on in the rest of this year, Bryce. We can't comment too much. We haven't played them yet.
No, but this is where I was talking about. It was like it's a bit of a brighter future here.
Yeah, this is where it looks, pretty good. Pretty good. There's no I don't know,
Metroid Dread kind of was that.
Yeah,
it was like an extinct game.
I'm really
come back from the dead all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
definitely. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just saying, like, compared to Smash Brothers in 2018, where like, oh my god, like I'm shaking. I cannot wait to play this game. At PAX, I'll be running to it. I'll like punch the Nintendo PR person in the lips. I'll take their demo. I'll run away. The cops will tackle me to the ground. I'll throw the demo to you. You keep running. But yeah, there'll be none of that this year. I'll just wait till it comes out. But yeah, Metroid Dread. Looking forward to that one. It's nice to see Metroid back in any capacity, let alone a 2D version from Mercury's Steam. I'm just a little bit, not that concerned about it being like a second party, but I would like to see like a Nintendo actually say, hey, let's make this first party. But I guess that is what the Prime series is for, with Prime 4 coming out eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Astro WarioWare, get it together. That is one of the games where we're just like, we need one of these games right now. We've been asking for it since we've been recording this podcast, and we're finally getting it. I'm a little bit concerned. Like, it is. I haven't really thought about it too much until like the last month or whatever. But just how it, like, the gameplay is completely different to what it used to be. Like, it used to be like, oh, grab this, like, move the Wiimote out, or the touchscreen, do this. But now it's all kind of like a 2D platformer. It's all built around being a character with different abilities, and those different characters' abilities were able to affect of how efficiently you're able to complete those minigames. So it is very different. Like if it's grab something, you've got to like move the joystick and go and jump and grab it. So it's going to be very different. I'm just wondering how versatile that sort of method of controlling the game will be.
Its versatility is really going to show when you get the co-op aspect into it.
So I'm looking forward to that. That is a big aspect. We haven't seen that in WarioWare before.
No. That's going to be huge for WarioWare because, I mean, if you think about the chaos that is WarioWare whatever, and get it together, like in its own name, is in its own right very clever because it's kind of like, if you think about it from a co-op aspect and you're like in a high round WarioWare game and you're like, everything's getting really fast and all the games are at their hardest difficulty and you're both like getting the same, like chasing the same objectives, so you're wasting time and you're not able to finish a mini game because you both went for like that one body hair on that guy's armpit instead of gum.
Yes.
Shit like that. You're like, you're just like, get the fuck together.
Get the hair from the other pit, you dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where it's going to shine. And you know what? I'm all for that because at the end of the day, we would literally just sit at the couch and toss the Wiimote to each other. That was kind of just what we did.
I didn't look into it too much. No news this week, but there was rumors that it will have online play.
Yeah.
That'll be great. That'll just make that game 100% better. Play with you. You don't have to be here. I can play online, play people online. I'll play that game for fucking ever. I cannot wait for WarioWare. It's like, seriously.
I'm so game.
Oh my God. We've been wanting it for so long.
I love WarioWare, man.
Yes,
It's just wacky.
It's just so dumb.
So stupid. We discovered it through touch when we were kids. And that was like huge. That was like, was it Jordan? Yeah, it was Jordan, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jordan got WarioWare touched.
He got the copy from like answering a question or whatever at a Nintendo Connection tour. We would have never discovered it if it weren't for that. It would have just been by the wayside.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see when we would have got into it. Would we have got the Wii version? Because WarioWare Smooth Moves were like, the DS one was awesome. We got to get the Wii one and got it straight away when it launched, pretty much. Would we have gotten it straight away? Would have just gone by the wayside of amongst all the other Wii sort of waggle games?
I did go back and play Smooth Moves recently too, like on my big TV and just stuffed around with it. Oh man,
yeah.
I miss that game is so dumb and so fun that I just love it so much.
Oh, Jess, we're finally getting one.
Yeah,
cannot wait to
beautiful.
play it.
Yeah,
Is that my most anticipated game now? I'm thinking about it this year.
It is this year.
It might be WarioWare. Come on.
Yeah, it's what.
Oh God, he's coughing up his excitement here. Jesus Christ,
it is WarioWare. But no, Metroid Dread is also extremely exciting. Unfortunately, it just like I don't have as much. I know a lot of people love Metroid, and I know like I love everything about Metroid as well. But because I haven't been following the series for so long, like I didn't start playing till Prime.
Yeah. I like to be honest, Metroid is definitely the blind spot I've got as far as Nintendo franchises go. I didn't play the Prime games on GameCube. Because of that, I didn't get Prime 3 Corruption.
Which is a fucking cool game.
Yeah, and I got Metroid Prime Hunters. Loved the multiplayer. The campaign put me off, so I never jumped back into the Game Boy Advance games. So Metroid definitely is a franchise I'm catching up on, and I hope I really do hope Dread. I finish it, I'm like, yes, and I've got to go back and play the rest.
Dude, Dread looks awesome because
it
looks like the thing that made it tough for me as a kid is because it was very horror-ish centric in its own way. It's obviously not. It's just another sci-fi game, and I was playing Halo at that time and stuff like that. But I found flood shit in Halo scary when I was a kid, man. So Metroid being the way it was with all these things that want to latch to your goddamn face, will literally jump at your face and latch onto it and freak you the fuck out. You're as a kid, I'm even with Prime, I'm like, this is scarier than Halo, man. And it was at the time. I actually think it probably was. But that kind of made my progression into where I'm at with Metroid now, relatively slow because I've never been a huge horror person ever. But with the exceptions of maybe Resident Evil and stuff like that, which I kind of, got into for a bit.
Yep.
But this is like some sort of very existential fucking horror where I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, I got these things chasing me around. Like,
Yeah, I wonder if I'll just be like, oh no, I can't put up with this. Just throw a switch out the window. Bryce, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can you keep venting about Metroid? For the first time in podcast history, I need a toilet break.
oh my God.
I need a toilet break real bad. So
I mean, man, you go to the toilet. You're right.
I can't anymore.
So you need a pee, huh?
You keep venting. I got to go to the toilet.
Just be careful of that drink, mate. We know what happens with you and drinks and podcast apps.
I'm busted.
Holy crap! This is weird for you.
It is, isn't it? I've got to go.
This is really strange, man. But no, something about the Emmy is stupidly exciting in its own right. I feel like, I've definitely played games that have that overlooming threat that actually doesn't, seem all that threatening until they catch you. And that's not something that I've not experienced before. It's definitely something that's been a common. But something about, having your opportunity to charge up that beam and eventually kill one of these Emmy is probably going to be the massive payoff. And then, fighting these things. But what I'm more curious about, I suppose, is the lore, because these things were designed to hunt down Metroids. So where that's going to sort of fit in, because, I don't want to spoil old games again because I might get chastised for it, but
That's right.
why they've attached themselves to Samus and why they really want to hunt her down, that's going to be, a very interesting point of turn for the game, I think. And I'm really looking forward to that whole discovering why the fuck these robots keep chasing me and how I can kill them quicker than just waiting for a beam to show up. Because I want to just destroy the shit out of them. Because, oh my God. And like, you see some of the death scenes and stuff like that they showed off during the treehouse, where like they'd caught them and stuff like that. They're brutal, man.
It's like Tomb Raider all over again. Where it's just like, oh my God, poor Lara Croft.
Brutal, dude. They're like literally just like,
Sam.
fucking like latch onto you. They're just like, they really like, they're out for blood, man. And that's awesome. And like, it's the first time I've been like, this is a kind of horror experience. I'm not afraid to play. This is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm very keen for it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this was it November? Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl comes out. Brand new sort of remake of Diamond and Pearl from 2007. No, 2007 here anyway. 2006 in Japan. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to play it, have some fun. I can't say I'm hyped about it or anything, but when it comes closer to the date, I will be looking forward to playing it. Bryce, I know you're not a massive Diamond and Pearl fan from the original game, so you're kind of like shrug for it, but you'll play it, won't you?
I'll play it, but like, unfortunately, Diamond and Pearl, I don't hold it anywhere near as high as I do previous generations.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, there's something about Diamond and Pearl that just is grindy and slow, and like, I know the difficulty ramps up near the end of the game, which is probably a good thing, right? But like, the journey to get there, I feel, is a bit too wayside for me. Like defog and rock climb, I know they're common complaints about the game, but they are so stupid.
Yeah.
The grind points in the game where you're like, all right, I'm now extremely underleveled for some reason. Like, there's that Mount Coronet, hate the place.
Yeah, I guess if they are your issues, though, looking at this remake, I think they will do similar stuff to what they did in Sun and Moon, where they put the HMs and stuff just as like abilities you use.
Poker Ride.
Yeah, like Poker Ride and stuff. So you will be able to like click A and just use it rather than teach it to a Pokemon. And
kind of hoping.
They'll probably make it really easy compared to the original games, because that's what Pokemon have been doing the last decade. So those problems might even be sort of solved for you as far as that goes. But
maybe, but you know what? I would also like to just go across the region and use Pokemon that aren't just Diamond and Pearl exclusive, and we know that's not happening, and that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I sort of, when I saw it, I got to admit, when I first saw the graphics, I was like, oh, because when you see a game being remade, you want it to look good. That's the whole point of the remake. And I'm really a big fan of the pixel art, and seeing it remade in a sort of a ordinary looking. It's not even the chibi stuff. It's just the fact that the graphics looked bad. Yeah. But in the recent Switch OLED model reveal, they showed a bit of the game, and I'm like, that looks a lot better.
It's improved, yeah.
So like my sort of opinion of the game's gone up just solely because of that. So
you know what my hope for this game is? My hope for this game is not that it's a great game. I hate to say it.
you hope it's not great?
No, I don't want it to do well. Because I want them to learn a lesson from it before they go and try and do Gen 5. Because Gen 5 is a whole nother beast in its own spectrum. Like, when they do Gen 5 remakes, I hate to say it, but like, there has to be 2 sets of remakes for Gen 5. You can't not have that whole story coherently without both of them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because they haven't run into that sort of similar issue beforehand. I think when they released like, was it Fire Red Leaf Green? I think like those were the first remakes. So everyone's like, oh, when's the yellow remake coming? It's like, we quickly learned that the third version of the game wasn't going to be remade. It was going to be the original duo of games. So moving on, but now it's like a different issue. It's like, are we going to miss out on that bit of the story 10 years later?
And that story,
maybe.
But that bit of the story is so important to the entire thing of Gen 5. Like, people don't remember Gen 5 because Gen 5, like the first 2 Gen 5 games were good. They absolutely don't. A lot of people had a lot of complaints with the first 2 Gen 5 games. It's the sequels they remember because the sequels had a really good story.
Yeah.
But it tags on so much from the events of the first one that you can't not have both. Whether they turn it into one story and they kind of like have the first story, then have the second story as post-league stuff, maybe? They could probably do that. But again, they have to make that one big coherent thing. They can't short stack it. They have to do it.
Short Stack. That was a great band, actually. Now you say that.
They can't, disservice it because otherwise then that is 100% a failed remake. Like Diamond Pearl, like them getting remade, that's going to be a very stock standard remake. The same shit's going to happen throughout, and that's it. And we know, like you said before, third versions, they're not going to do them. All right. Technically, Black 2, White 2 are the third versions.
Yeah.
And, that's whatever. But if you count them as the third versions, they have more content in them as third versions than any other game because it completely changes it. 100%. You've got different towns in it. You've got a different story. You've got different access to legendaries. You've got, a whole array of stuff that really needs to be clarified in Gen 5. So
yeah, no, it's definitely a time in the series where we looked at it and went, this is what they need to do, and they just sort of didn't do it.
No, they moved into X and Y, and X and Y was painful because it was kind of like, did you really ditch everything that you did right from the last 2 games just to put in 3D models? Because that was a little bit depressing, not going to lie.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You're going to be going into this a lot more with a friend of the show, Metadox.
That's right.
Going to be going into all of the Pokemon generations.
It's definitely, it's definitely on the cards. We haven't actually recorded anything yet because, unfortunately, it is sort of a case of like, I'm not sure what your plans are yet, but you were supposed to be going away this month.
Yes. At the time of recording, I don't know.
I don't think you will be now.
I don't think we will be. We are locked to Queensland. We're going to have a honeymoon in Queensland.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's going to be happening. Whether we're going to plan it somewhere else or not, but
yeah, that's right.
Anyway, still do it anyway.
But then at the same time, at the same time you'll be going away, I'll probably be going away for family health reasons as well.
Right, yeah.
So
record it before.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping. But, our schedules have got to line up and stuff like that as well. And that was the issue we had the other weekend, is that there was a good day to do it. And then he was kind of like, he said the next day, he's like, actually, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm like, that's okay. I'm like, don't stress. I'm like, we will get it eventually. Even if it is just closer to the date or whatever. But now, since we've had that conversation, something else has arisen for me, which means that I'm probably not even going to be home soon.
Yeah.
I'm also probably going to be taking a plane somewhere or doing whatever. So
yeah, no.
We'll just see how it plans out.
Regardless, Bryce, we'll work it out.
I kind of just want to put that out there. But I definitely do want to do that episode because the concept of that intrigues the shit out of me. as somebody that we just talk shit about Pokemon all the time, but we come from the same generation of Pokemon fan, you know?
Yeah, he's a lot younger than us. So
he started in my favorite generation, technically, and I started in Gen 1. That's a huge difference, man. That's massive. So I really want to talk to him about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm keen to listen to it. I love it when you do podcasts by yourself. I'm just like, I just sort of, the House of Mario, new episode's out. Even though I posted it. No, listen to it. Yeah, no, it's good fun. It's good fun.
Man.
So I think the other game is Advance Wars 1+2.
Yes,
coming out in December.
Yeah.
December 3rd. I'm just remembering this off the top of my head, so if I'm missing your favourite game, I'm sorry. I'm bloody sorry.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think like compared to like Wargroove and like these indie titles for the paying homage to this series as well. Like Wargroove is like $30. And I know this is like a remake of 2 games, but $80 it's a bit of a pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably buy it and play it. But
it looks cool, but
yeah, it looks like a great little remake.
I'm not an Advance Wars fan, so it's hard for me to judge.
Yeah, like I can't say I am either. I'm going to come into this being like, I've heard about this series. I would love to give it a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like a big price for it. But the game looks great. Looking forward to getting into it. I love how they sort of redid all the character designs, how it's like all animated as they're talking and that. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Looks good.
Nice second party game by forgetting their name. It's going to drive me nuts, Bryce.
I don't remember.
Who? WayForward are developing it.
Yeah,
yes, that was going to kill me if that did not come to my brain. All right, so we're going to go into 2022, Bryce. What we hope is going to be next year. We're going to put together our dream 2022. But before we jump into that, let's hear the first time ever, I believe, on the show, a community submitted skit. And I didn't even ask for this, but we got two skits. We got 2 skits submitted by the community. So the first one is by Metadox, who we were talking about before, and Funder as well, who is also in our Discord community. And we really appreciate it, guys. And it's actually Pokemon themed as well, because these 2 boys love some Pokemon.
Beautiful.
So let's tune in. Let's have a listen.
All right, man.
And enjoy.
Do it.
Battling it out in the Indigo League finals for title of Pokemon Champion. Meta from Azalea Town and hailing from Celadon City, Thunder. Without further ado, let the battle begin.
Go Blastoise!
Go Bidoof.
He's using a Bidoof in the finals?
Okay, Bidoof, use Sword Dance.
Alright then. Iron Defense.
Bidoof, lower its defense with Rock Smash.
How powerful is this thing? Alright, Blastoise, hit back with a Hydro Pump!
Ha, that was nothing. Bidoof, use Judgment.
And with that, Blastoise is knocked out.
You know what? Alright then. Nope, that's it. That's all. Nope, I'm out.
It seems that Meta is forfeiting the match, thus making Thunder the winner fair and square. Yeah, I forgot to say beforehand, but they did ask for me to voice a line to put in there.
Or a few. Yeah. Bidoof, use Judgment. Bang. I love it, dude.
So yeah, no, it's funny.
I love it, fellas. Well done.
It's funny hearing someone else's take on a skit.
Oh, dude, yeah. It always is, yeah.
Yeah, because like usually it's like us just like, oh, what? There used to be, I try to have it done before the episode now, so we can all do it in one
take. Yep.
One take. Whereas before, like, we'd do an episode like, oh, what should we talk about? Well, what should we do the skit on? It's like, what about if there was this man who was playing a Pokemon game and then he was like, oh my god, my Pokemon have all wiped out. What should I do? Oh, maybe I should go to Nurse Joy. But Nurse Joy, she was an animal activist and she would not heal my Pokemon. And then those Pokemon, they went on to die because Nurse Joy would not heal them. But then 5 years later, the Pokemon trainer got revenge on Nurse Joy by pushing her down some stairs. And that is the skit. That's how we came up with the skits.
Oh, that's comedy, man.
That's comedy. That's great. Hilarious.
You fell downstairs.
Just a party of Pokemon dying, Nurse Joy getting pushed to a death, someone becoming a murderer. Just it's a bad turn of events in that skit, but that was one for the cutting room floor. We won't use that this episode. It's all right. How do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Yep. Keep it away.
Keep it away. Yeah, no, keep it away, Bryce.
Keep it away.
All right, so 2022, Bryce, we're going to look to the future for Nintendo Switch, Nintendo published games. So to start off with, we already know one, which is Pokemon Legends Arceus. And I've got to be honest, this is like a dream game, like open world Pokemon game by Game Freak. Cool. That's a good start. January, cool. That's a nice one. But what are some other games? If you had to be like, all right, we've had these games in development for 5 years. They're looking prime. We're going to put them out in 2022. And oh my God, it's going to move so many units. Nintendo is going to be like, look at our money. We can't handle all this cash in our bank.
It's falling.
What would you put out there? I'm going to start off with a real obvious one, and you're going to jump to the second real obvious one, I dare say, after this. But God damn it, where's a Kid Icarus game? Put out a bloody Kid Icarus game right now. Sakurai, I know you're busy, but someone else put it out. I don't know who's going to make it. Has Next Level Games been developing this after Luigi's Mansion 3? I don't know, but I'd love to see some more Kid Icarus, Bryce. Some multiplayer, some campaign, some achievements in there, some music tracks to unlock. It's just an IP just ready to be just used. Just ring it like a lemon. Give us that story. Give us that music. Give us that voice acting. Give us Hades. Fuck, Bryce. Just give it to me.
Just give us, yeah.
Give us Kid Icarus.
Holy fuck, dude.
God.
Really? Yeah, no, it does. I really do want to see it make a return in something that's a bit more designed for something like that.
Yeah.
3DS is like, it worked. Its controls was shit. Like, there's no questioning about that. I didn't struggle too much myself, but
Just got to use that stand, man. That stand they gave you. Just chuck it in that stand and put it on your guts as you're laying on the couch. It worked a treat. That's how I played it. Laying on the couch and I got like double chin the whole time I'm playing it.
But it was a good game.
It was a great game. All right. So what's one you'd love to see in 2022?
I would love to see. I just want to see them bring up Breath of the Wild 2.
Breath of the Wild 2? Yeah. Well, we should see that.
I just want them to bring that out already.
Yeah, so
here's the thing, right? Is like there's a lot of wishes and wants that I want for Nintendo, but I'm starting to realize that I probably shouldn't set my expectation levels to 2017, 2018 because it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I'm kind of going off of the guarantee of I know that Zelda's coming out. I want Zelda to come out. It's but when I think about these things like Kid Icarus, I want that to come out. There's no question about that. Want it to happen, etc., etc. If I want to shoot really above the belt, I want them to bring fucking Banjo-Kazooie and those games over in a collection or something. From fucking Microsoft.
You want Doug Bowser? Do you want Doug Bowser to go over to
Microsoft and demand him back?
Yeah, Phil Spencer, give him a bit of a slap on the bum. Say, how about you give us that Banjo-Kazooie? How about you put that on Nintendo Switch?
Oh, dude. And you know what? Here's the thing, right? Is if they did and they brought them over in a collection or something and that shit sold, more people would finally play those games. And they'd realize how fucking good they are, and hopefully they'd get the reception that they need to inherit a sequel. One that people actually wanted from Banjo 3.
That'd be great.
I would love to see that. And, the platform it's going to do best on is quite fair and obviously Nintendo.
Well, the thing is, Bryce, you are the head of Nintendo. You're putting that game out next year. It's a shoo-in. Congratulations.
Oh, sweet.
It's happened.
Phil Spencer, I'll contact you in the morning. Thanks,
cool,
man.
Cool. So this is the one I thought you were going to jump to, but I'll jump to it right now. We had Mario Golf this year. Yeah, it was all right. Why Camelot? Just don't want them making this one. But I don't know about Next Level Games. I've already sort of mentioned them for Kid Icarus, but they also made a great game called Mario Strikers on the GameCube and Mario Strikers Charged on the Wii. Yeah. Fantastic games. Great games. They're both very different to one another. Strikers on the GameCube. Because we played this afterwards, actually. It's oh my God, this game's so fast. I can't keep up with the bloody thing. But Strikers Charged was one Bryce and I really enjoyed on the Wii. And just a Mario soccer game, just please give that to us. I don't want it to turn out like golf and tennis turned out, so maybe give it to someone else.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see it another take on this game again.
So that's why I didn't jump to it straight away too, though, is that we've had 2 sports titles that have just like come through. Like, I really want Strikers. I want it, and I want Hoops. I want Hoops 3-on-3. But like, you know, I don't want those games to be ruined in my eyes either.
I'm gonna cry.
No, I'm hicking up, man.
Oh God.
I don't want to see those. I don't want to see those games ruined either. Like, I want them to come out in their full flesh and glory. And unfortunately, right now, I just don't think they have the business mind to do that. They kind of just put it out. It's got Mario in it. It'll sell. And I'm kind of like, man, yeah, it probably will, but not in the way you want. If you actually make a decent game, probably sell a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
So please, those need to go to the right places and sell well. Because the last time we ever got anything, obviously Strikers was Strikers Charged, and then the only thing we got of Mario Basketball at all, which they did include like the Final Fantasy characters in, but it was in Sports Mix, man. And I don't give a shit lick about Sports Mix. I want like a full Mario Basketball experience. It was really good.
Yep, I think these like sports games, they need to be standalone. Otherwise, they just water them down too much to fit into these packages.
Yep.
Just as far as Mario Strikers goes, like I really don't see next level games making it unless they've expanded and they've split off into 2 teams or something. I really don't see Nintendo buying them and then putting them on a game like that necessarily, especially after Luigi's Mansion, where they've made 2 successful big games involving like a massive Mario character. So I don't see them going to it, and I don't want Camelot, the pretty much second party sports team, taking it over either. No. And apart from that, I don't know who would go to. It's not going to, unless they hire just like another second party team to take it over, maybe a team we don't know about yet. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe they have a bit more cash now that Alpha Dream isn't just churning out RPGs. I don't know.
Poor Alpha Dream.
Rest in peace, Alpha Dream. I loved your studio. I loved your games. So yeah, I don't know who's going to make it, but it's coming out next year, Bryce. Don't you worry about that, mate.
I believe you.
What about you? What's your next one?
Oh, look, man, I don't know. I'm stuck. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, like with a lot of the big franchises we've had on Switch, like,
and that's where it sort of comes down to.
Like for us, I think our last 3 games were like, oh, please give us these games. It was WarioWare, we've got that. Now it is Kid Icarus and Strikers.
Things that are realistically not going to happen.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
The Kid Icarus probably is a very slim chance of that happening.
No, just give us Kid Icarus, man.
Just give us a Kid Icarus.
Uprising was such a fucking and I know that it's largely down to Sakurai really pushing the detail and like all that stuff as well, and like I want that man to have a break, but I also want Nintendo to be like, so after you've taken that break, do you want to work on a Kid Icarus game? Because listen, if you could pick up a 3DS, like right now, and you can find a way to get yourself into that Kid Icarus Uprising, like that game was far too good for the fucking 3DS.
It's just like with like Kid Icarus being locked on the 3DS, then like hey, we got a remake from 3DS. It's Miitopia. I'm like, fuck. I just want to throw my Switch on the ground. It's like, bring Kid Icarus. What are you doing?
That game is too good for the 3DS. It is too good for the 3DS.
Oh, big words. Don't like the 3DS, Bryce?
No, I like it. It's not that I don't like.
It's
the
too
3DS.
good for stylus controls. Yeah.
No. Like that game could be really like fucking heavily boosted and put on the Switch, and you could have motion controls in it instead of touch controls, or you could have just button controls on it and touch controls. The multiplayer was actually pretty fucking good, and so was the weapon crafting system. So it would actually probably thrive on a platform that's designed to do more multiplayer than what the 3DS did, because let's be real, the 3DS didn't really do online multiplayer well either, but neither does the Switch, but it does it a little bit better. And the only reason it does it a little bit better is because it's home console, right? You can put it in your home console, you can fucking play it online, or you can sit in your bed and you can fucking shit your pants while you play it. I don't know. But my point is
That's
that
what I'll do. Yeah.
that game would look fucking amazing in HD. Right? It look fucking amazing upscaled HD. That game is so fast, so fluid, and it doesn't sacrifice much at all. Just by even being on the 3DS, like you would think like you wouldn't be able to put that much action into it because it's on a 3DS. But it's really good. It's really good. It's really fast, really good, fast paced. Get through the story. Most of the cutscenes are voice acted, if not all. There's a lot of introduced characters into the Kid Icarus universe right there in just one game, or at least if they're not just being introduced, they're also being reintroduced with personalities, character, and all that stuff. It's a really good stepping stone. Kid Icarus could be a fantastic franchise for them to lean on, but they're not doing it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bryce, you're preaching to the choir here, mate.
I know that.
I love that game. That's the game I want the most.
I know that.
After WarioWare and I guess Metroid.
You've always been a fan of Pit ever since you turned up in Smash Brothers. That was before you even played a fucking Kid Icarus game.
Yeah, long before I played a Kid Icarus game.
So, that says a lot about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
End of story.
Yeah. All right. So, as far as other games I want a lot of games here, Bryce. I want another Mario game. I think we're overdue for a Mario title. Usually we're sort of looking at like a 4-year cycle.
Talking about we just got one.
What, for like next year, Bryce?
They're going to treat it as such. They're going to be like, this is the Mario game that you're going to get until the end of the Switch's life.
Really?
I reckon.
You reckon? You reckon Odyssey is the Mario Switch game?
No. Mario 3D World's probably the last thing that they're going to be like, here's new content.
Really? Until the end of the Switch?
For the Switch's life. At this stage, probably.
Wow.
They still haven't fucking got Bayonetta out there yet, man. They haven't got fucking Metroid Prime 4. They've got a lot of things on the cards, man. Yeah. And it's getting on 5 years into the Switch soon enough.
Yeah. I will say they are different teams, and Mario is a lot more important than those other ones.
Yes, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. I don't think the company in its current state wants to do that.
Yeah, I reckon it will come before the Switch's life is finished, definitely.
Yeah, but
whether it's next year or the year after, I don't know, but
it is so uncertain at the moment because the company's always talking about shifting how they do things. And that's where I'm sort of getting a little bit concerned because if Nintendo's not thriving off its own IPs, then does it ever thrive?
Just
right now it's thriving off ports and half-finished games, and I don't like that.
No, I don't either. Yeah, I think there will be another Mario game. I think that's a pretty easy bet.
It'll be a port. Wait for it.
What's it going to be a port of?
Galaxy 2, because people kept bitching about it.
Oh.
And then they'll be like,
I'll be happy with that.
I'll be honest. No, they'll be like, here's Galaxy 2 the same way we did Skyward Sword.
Oh no, you used the stick for your sword in Mario Galaxy 2?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. No, I feel so bad. I'm like, yeah, I'll buy Galaxy 2. Fuck, I love Mario Galaxy 2 so much. I don't know about $80 in 2022, but
well, then you have this internal conflict because you've also got a three-piece collection out there, which, by the way, you can't buy anymore. Thanks, Nintendo.
Wankers, fucking dickheads. What are you thinking?
You got a three-piece collection out there that includes the original Odyssey, and I know it's not as highly held regard as the second one, but if you've already got an option to buy a game, buy a collection that's got Galaxy, that's got a Galaxy game in it, and fair enough, it's not the most fucking brilliant port ever, but it does come with 3 games, and then you release Galaxy 2, and they're like, here's an HD upscale Galaxy 2, and they're like, all right, so your choices are, you've got the All-Stars collection, which gives you 3 games, doesn't give you a HD update in them, but it is 3 games for the same cost of a game that we're re-releasing, that has HD upscaling, but it's only 1 game. And it's very expensive. When we should have just had it in that collection in the first place. So what the fuck is the deal there, man?
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
I am too, definitely. But I could just imagine that there are a few games that I've played throughout the years where I'm like, oh God, I love this. Just take this currency out of my bank account and give me a digital download on my Nintendo Switch, for goodness sakes. And unfortunately, that is Mario Galaxy 2. So I don't know if they'll particularly do this game, but if they did, I'll be like, oh, just give me this game. I love it so much. Love it so much. But let's put a bow on this conversation, Bryce. I guess for the last 4 years of Switch, it's had its downs and its lows throughout the years. It definitely started off strong because of the lack of content coming out on Wii U. They're being able to back up a bit of stuff. You could obviously see that.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey was more than likely on Wii U. Breath of the Wild was definitely on Wii U. And I think like stuff like Xenoblade and that too was probably also targeted for Wii U. So a lot of the stuff was probably delayed a bit and just like pushed to the next console.
Oh, actually, that's the last thing I want is a Xenoblade Chronicles X port. See it.
Yeah, nice.
Done.
See, look, there's yours. There's your port.
That's literally all I want.
There's your port that you'll
but
you'll die for.
Here's the thing: is that game is
it's massive. Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. It's a fucking good game, man.
It's a good game, man.
It's a good game, man.
Oh,
and its online systems that it had never got the chance to shine on the Wii U because it was the Wii U. You could do fucking like 20 player boss fights in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and it never got to shine because it was on fucking Wii U. Put it on the Switch. Fuck.
All right, so but before we move on to some more discussion about sort of reflecting on the podcast itself, we've got a question from Shane Bailey at Magic Cats on Twitter, and he just asked, if you had to put money on it, what year would we see the Switch successor come out? So this isn't the Switch OLED, this is the Switch Pro or the Switch 2, whatever the next system is going to be. What year would you put money on?
23 or between 23 and 25.
Okay, yeah. It is hard. It is hard because we don't know. We're not Nintendo, are we? We're not.
I would say we'd probably see news about it in 23 and see a release in 24.
Like end of 23, you reckon?
Yeah, 23 around E3 time.
Right, so...
And then a release for 24.
So coming up to episode 300... we'll be talking about next Switch.
I think so.
Nice. All right, so you said 24. I will say, look, I've got no idea. I haven't thought about this too much, but I will say, that sounds like a pretty plausible time. I'm going to say 25 just to be different. Just, God knows what's going to happen. Whatever. No, I don't want to say that. You know what I was going to say. Yeah. 25, just to be different. Just if we just go both 24s.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds pretty plausible. 25, they might hold on an extra year. I don't know.
Yeah.
With the Wii, they held on too long, so they might hold on too long with the Switch as well. Move on, Nintendo. Get some new product out there. Give us some.
Come on, Nintendo.
Give us some juice in our CPUs. Let us get them frame rates up. For goodness sakes, it's 2025. Give it to us. Yeah, bloody hell. Bloody hell. All right, Bryce, so let's move on to some discussion about the podcast itself. And, I've actually organised a very, very informative, intro here to the House of Mario, what the House of Mario is. So, Bryce, without further ado, let's press play on the PowerPoint. G'day, everyone. It's me, Drew Agnew, COO, here at the House of Mario. Thank you very much for joining us for the 200th episode of our silly little show. Over the last 4 years, we have completely revolutionised the Nintendo podcasting game, bringing you the latest Nintendo news, discussions about the latest Nintendo games, all with a bit of banter along the way.
Drew, that's what every gaming podcast does.
Oh, are you serious? Oh, so a lot of other shows do this as well. Okay, well, all right, might have to try and make some stuff up then. The House of Mario is an incredibly unique Nintendo podcast. For the longest time, we've been looking how we can better serve our audience. And for the longest time, our audience has been made up of 100% human beings. So for the second half of this year, we are looking to expand the audience to the ocean. Yes, if you are a member of Oceanic Life, you are able to listen to the House of Mario. And you may be thinking, how can you get the House of Mario out to the whole ocean? Well, we do this through small sound waves which we project throughout the ocean. So now, whether you're a dolphin, whale, a part of the coral reef, or a small little fishy, you are now able to listen to the House of Mario and decide what games to get on Nintendo Switch. Should you get Mario Golf Super Rush for $80? No, you should not. Should you get Super Mario Odyssey? Yes, get Super Mario Odyssey, it's a good game. Do you want to play some bloody multiplayer with your mates? Get Super Smash Brothers. So with this technology, we are now able to put our podcast out to Oceanic Life. And that is very, very exciting. Both myself and Bryce are very excited about this feature, and we'll love to invite you to listen to more of the show. But don't just take my word for it. There are many listeners human listeners that listen to the House of Mario, and this is what they have to say.
As Forrest Gump once said, the House of Mario is just like a box of chocolates. They're delicious. You always want one more, you always want one more episode, and that is exactly what the House of Mario is, a box of chocolates.
The House of Luigi is a magical place. I guess the House of Mario is pretty okay as well.
The House of Mario is an unopened Lego set that sits on my shelf collecting dust. Or maybe it's a podcast. Or both.
The House of Mario is the best podcast to be listening to if you want to hear some live erotic fan fiction readings. Meow.
The House of Mario is a podcast. At least that's what they want you to think. It's actually a pyramid scheme and they're here to steal your tax money. Watch out. Those boys Drew and Bryce are... they're smart fellas. They know how to get your money.
The House of Mario is finger-licking good.
The House of Mario, brought to you by the Elite Trainer Box. The Elite Trainer Box. You literally never know what you're going to get.
And there you have it. That's what our listeners think of our podcast, The House of Mario. And to be honest, I think it's a really weird way of putting our podcast. Finger licking good? A box of chocolates? Erotic? Scheming? What the hell are you guys listening to? But, nevertheless, that is what our listeners think of this podcast. I'd like to thank you very much and continue on with episode 200 of the show. Well, there you go, Bryce. That is the House of Mario in a nutshell, pretty much. Can confirm we will be bringing sort of our podcast to more marine life in the future. Hope you're looking forward to that.
Beautiful.
Is that relevant in any way? I don't know. Don't know.
We'll never know, man.
We will never know.
They are in the ocean and they cannot speak human language.
They cannot. But maybe they'll learn through the power of the House of Mario.
That could be true.
Yeah.
And then we will see ourselves at the hands and mercy of dolphins.
Yes, we will.
Oh, gee.
I love dolphins.
So do I.
Yes. So let's talk a bit about the show, I guess, again, because we did talk about it at the start. When I was putting this episode together, Bryce, I did not expect this little bit of my notes would take 2.5 hours. But here we are. I do appreciate it. We can talk. That's for sure. That's for sure. So we actually have some dot points or some questions from Brendan White, who we talked about earlier in the show. Big motivation for our podcast.
Okay.
Really happy to have met him through doing this medium of podcasting. And he asked us a few questions. So he said, what has been and he's got a few dot points here. So the first one, what has been our biggest challenge?
Getting to this point.
So how's it being a big challenge getting here?
Because we started off mixing, like we discussed earlier on in the show, we started mixing with older, like sort of YouTube style sort of content where we were just playing video games together, and that was our reason to catch up each week. But unfortunately, because of the Stone Age era ass internet we weren't really getting too far. And we tried podcasting once. We had a 3-hour episode that never got released. You were very tired in it.
Yeah, I think you asked me a question. I don't fucking know, man. I fall asleep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were fucking tired, man. Anyway, so, yeah, and it didn't really go much further until later on. But obviously, the trials and tribulations that come with organising a show for this long, especially on your end, I would imagine. There's a lot to think about. There's obviously been money spent. There's been, time we've had to take off work to attend events and stuff like that. We've had to do a lot of unpaid work, and a lot of money's come out of our wallets to make it to those kinds of things. It definitely is just an entire journey that you don't really expect going into it, like, especially if you're dedicated to do it, as long as we've been doing it 200 episodes, that, you want to do all these things and you want to make the best content you possibly can. And, like, for the most part, I think we're doing the best we can. But in doing that, we've got to sort of have it down to the detail. And I think that's kind of what it is.
Yeah. I'll say, like, my biggest challenge, like, it's all been driven because I just love it. I love listening to it. I love producing it. I love talking to Bryce. I love the community aspect. I love getting feedback back after an episode. Mm-hmm. But, like, the biggest challenge, like, to getting to that point is just learning. just learning, like when we first started, learning what an RSS feed is, learning how to get said podcast on that RSS feed, editing the podcast, just learning like how to normalize the audio so there's no peaks, whether it's low or high, so people aren't in their car and they just hear you screaming when we decide to like laugh or something like that. There's just so much stuff to learn, and I think that's been the biggest challenge. And I think honestly, just like as we've been recording this, it's been like the last like year or so where I've just been really confident in our product, which we make.
Yep.
Which is, I just feel like really good about what we do. I think we offer knowledge. I think we offer just a fun Nintendo podcast. I'm proud of it. I think it's somewhat unique.
Yeah.
Obviously, what I touched on with just like in the skit with the news and talking about like recent Nintendo games, like, you know, all gaming podcasts do that. All the other Nintendo podcasts you listen talk about probably the same things that week. But I think just like...
It's people setting them apart.
Yeah. It's
and
like...
that's what it is.
Yeah. Each host has their different opinions, their own different flavors of what games they enjoy. And I think we bring that as well. And just like, I really enjoy doing the skits.
Yeah.
Learning, putting them together. I think that's a great way of just stretching our creative endeavor. Putting them together, putting them at the start. I think... I don't know. Because I remember like personally where I listened to podcasts doing skits was the IGN AU pubcast. They did skits at the start, and I always laughed so much. They had a really crude sense of humor. They're Australians, of course they do, and I really enjoyed looking. What was that? They were fortnightly, yeah. Every fortnight, I'm like, I can't wait to hear this skit. And just no other podcasts did it, at least what I was listening to. I'm sure fucking thousands of them do. But none I did. No gaming ones. So I thought that would be a really fun thing to put into ours. And I think, like, especially now where we have the skit ready to go and we listen to it before we jump into the episode, so it's all one take, it really sort of brings our charisma up along with it.
Yeah, it does.
Instead of just like what we used to do before we got the Roadcast, where we're like, hit record. We're like, hey, Bryce, how you going?
Yeah,
and then like we put the sound effects in afterwards.
Mhm.
I think just doing it all in one take like we do it now, like all the skits we're playing, all the sound effects and that's just me pressing the soundboard here. And I think that it adds like a lot of fun, and that was sort of a learning experience in itself. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think like as far as like a challenge goes, I don't feel like it's been a challenge. I think our challenges lay ahead of us. Like if we like just like... I guess like growing the podcast. I remember because like I said, I listened back to episode 100 and we were talking about our stats there. And like two years on from that, we've really sort of hit a wall. So like personally for me as the person producing it and publishing it and trying to, I guess do social media posts and try to reach out to different people to get the show out to a new audience, that is personally my challenge. I don't know how. I've seriously just thrown my arms up in the air and be like, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's important not to worry about. Worry about too much at this point. If it ever takes off for whatever reason, we start getting shit tons of views out of nowhere, then it's just come off our own backs. There's no point.
Yeah, I mean,
stressing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm happy with the product. I'm happy to put it in front of people.
Yeah.
If you're a Nintendo fan, I feel like you would enjoy this show. Whether like you might just like, you're too rude or something for us. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like everyone's got their own taste, but I feel like as far as like our discussions, I feel like they're worth listening to, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that is my challenge, just getting it out more as the person that's posting it and trying to push it out there. But I know like a lot of times I might look at the stats, I might go, like it just, I'm in a bad mood as it is, and then that hits me. I'm like, oh God, why are we?
Stop looking at him, man.
Yeah. Apart from like just having a great time talking to Bryce, I'm like, you know what? Why are we doing this? And then I've got to like get back in the sort of mindset of like, no, it's fun. You're enjoying producing the product. You're enjoying doing it with your best friend. So you just, every now and then, I know like sometimes I'm just like, fuck. And you're like, Drew. You slap me on the shoulder. And I'm like, all right, yeah, Bryce. That's fair enough.
You dickhead. Stop worrying about things.
Yeah. So the next one is, what's your biggest motivator for doing this, Bryce? So 200 episodes, you've come over, you've recorded a lot of them. Why do you keep coming back?
A passion of the medium and people who think the self-same. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you got a passion for podcasting? Is that what you're saying?
No, for video games.
For video games, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and like obviously we connect with people who are also passionate about video games. I love talking about video games, and like I don't think. Sometimes I don't think my partner realizes it as much either, but like, you know, everybody finds a passion in something, and sometimes I think video games do feel, to some people who aren't quite as far into the medium as say like you or I are, really understand exactly what is so grabbing about it. But that's come from a place of like video games since the 90s, you know. Parents have always looked at it and they've gone like, well, it's a waste of time, or, you know, something like that. But video games as a medium now, they're huge.
It's so cool. Like I dare say I look at other hobbies similar to how people who aren't into video games look at video games.
Yes.
So I'm not riding any high horse here, but like, for example, like my partner, even to some extent, maybe your partner, we're there playing Mario and they might just think what's going through our brain is like we're just like
absolutely
herping and derping and that. But you know, we've got a real passion about it's not just playing the video games, but just like what goes into them, what the community and how they take it, what they love about it as well. Like there's just so many aspects from the very start, like the day that they start developing the game to when it comes out, to how the community sort of sees it as they're playing it, as it's come out, and also like just like 10 years on, how people view that game, how people sort of want to
it's an art medium,
hold on to it. Yeah, no, it's a really special place, and
that's what it comes down to. It's the same thing as music, and it's the same thing as a good movie and like all that stuff as well. I understand that video games typically waste probably a bit more time than what a movie does, for example.
They really do.
But here's the thing is like at the end of the day, when you look at the back end of what it takes to create a video game, it's quite a big prospect. And it's like with a movie, obviously you've got to command like a crew of like actors and stuff like that. It's the same thing with video games, but the issue with video games is not only are you commanding a crew to make these things, but you also have to work with like the limitations of the hardware you're developing for, or the limitations of the software you're using, or you know, there's a lot of like little nuances in making video games that makes it such a mastercraft art.
Yeah. Especially on the Nintendo side, we face limitations of their software or hardware all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like with like the Game Boy, just like looking into them, like they look like very basic games, but when you hear stories about how the developers like really utilize that hardware to actually produce some really timeless games, like you look at Tetris, for example, like they looked at that hardware, I keep saying software, bro. I don't know what's going on with me. Too many Krakens. Just a really basic game, but just makes you keep coming back and back. But then with Pokemon, they utilize the battery in the cartridge where you can actually save it and keep moving on with your adventure as well. Similar to what like the NES had with Zelda. And like it's just like it's really interesting. I think some of the most interesting games come from the limitations and how developers work around it. When those stories come out, you're like, wow, that is really smart how those titles even came out in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so big motivator. We just love it. We love video games.
Yeah, I think that goes for the both of us, no matter what. I think that is the reason why we started this podcast. Like outside of just the excuse of us catching up every week. But you know, video games are what they are, and they always will be. You know, it's something we'll always appreciate. We'll always celebrate them, and we hope that the people that do celebrate them with us continue to celebrate them with us.
Yeah.
That is video games, man. Yeah. And Nintendo just happens to be the ones I'm attached to most. It doesn't mean I'm like disingenuous of other video games or whatever on different platforms. I love them as well, but growing up with Nintendo, they've always been very close.
Definitely.
So it is a huge motivator to talk about something that I love in a space where I can talk about it as passionately as I want. And sort of, I know that somebody out there is sort of listening.
Yeah. Because like, I guess really boiling down to it, like our sort of shared love of Nintendo was what really brought us together. Just like you saying, like, I love Zelda. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll give it a go. And I bring my Wii over to your place and we just play it all night.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah, and just stuff like that. And playing your GameCube and the Wii. And, you know, we always caught up. I remember every Wednesday, I would go over before badminton. We used to play badminton.
We did.
And I used to walk to your place. You used to get off the bus a little bit later because you went to a school in a nearby town.
Yep.
So you'll come back and I'll meet you off the bus. We'll go to your place. We'll just catch up, watch some YouTube, play some games, then walk and play badminton. And it was like a thing every week we had.
We did.
Even though we went to different schools when you left, you went to go somewhere else. So
That's right.
it's just like a really connected thing we've got together. But I guess the motivation as well is I love podcasting. I love podcasts as well, which I touched on before. So I guess that's a motivator as well. We want to create a product together to put out as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we started with YouTube content. It just didn't work out in the same way.
Yeah,
Proudest moment.
Yeah, the next one is our proudest moment over the last 200 episodes. We've actually got a few more because we've got a few bonus episodes and stuff, but don't worry about that. This is our 200th normal episode. It's all good. Yeah. So what would be one of your proudest moments? So we've had a good amount of interesting guests on, which have been fun. We've had a good amount of conversations together, which have been fun just in this room here. We've gone to PAX. We've gone to AvCon in Adelaide. We've done a fair few things over the last 4 years together. And this isn't something I've thought about as well. I can see your brains just like ticking over, just like thinking, what is our proudest moment?
Getting into PAX on our own merit, probably. I think, when we started out applying for PAX, we were doing it through 8-bit at the time. And yes, again, answering Brendan's question here. Thank you very much, Brendan. You got us into that one as a duo that we got into for our first one. Second time round, they tightened the restrictions a fair bit, and we were very worried that we were even going to get a spot in.
We were too, weren't we? Yeah.
We were extremely worried, and passes were selling like crazy. We'd run out of options, so we were like really banking on getting in on the content creator aspect, and we did it. And that was huge because in comparison to something like AvCon, where AvCon is, they're looking for local. And we are local to it, and that's how they've sort of always been. They want to support the local just as the locals want to support it. But PAX is a whole different deal. It's the biggest gaming thing in the country. It's the biggest gaming thing in most countries worldwide where it is present. So for us to get in on our own merit was definitely an eye-opener to how much work and attribution we did. Maybe it didn't seem that huge when we applied for it because in some consensus it's they're not paying that much attention to it. They're kind of just yep, tick this person off. In some degree they probably are, but knowing that because they would have seen that we had been there on our own merits before the previous year, and that they our names alone sort of carried us into the next year without having to be associated with 8-bit for the second year. I think that alone made me go, that was cool, So being recognized like that was definitely a big thing for me.
Yeah, and that's a big one for me as well. I reckon another one would be just some of the guests we've had. One of the first, I think it was episode 9, we had our first guest. From Hot Chocolate Party, Michael. And it's just a really invigorating thing. We've talked about it in the past where it's just the first guest, it was a lot of fun. We had a great conversation, meeting someone from the opposite side of the world. We're talking about Nintendo because we have this show. We wouldn't have talked to him otherwise. So it was just an absolutely fantastic opportunity to be able to talk to him. And we've had just a lot of great guests as well. I think I remember episode 50, we talked to the developers behind Blossom Tales.
Yeah, we did.
And Blossom Tales was just a favorite of mine. Absolutely loved it. Fantastic Zelda-like indie game. And it was a really fun interview. Went for about 50 minutes. But we used this software. We tried a different software. We're still, we've been doing it for about a year. And what we used to do back then is we used to record locally. So we'll record in Audacity and we'll get the guests to record in Audacity. And that used to be fine because our friends who we were talking to were podcasters. They understood how to do that. But when we had developers on, we're like, well, we don't want to say, get this program, hit record, do a clap. Like there's a lot of bullshit that goes on when you do remote podcasting.
Yeah, that's right.
So we got this program. I forgot what it was called. Never used it again because what I'm going to say is just so annoying. But we got our audio back. Their audio was fine. Basically, it uploads straight to the cloud and you go and download it. Their audio was fine. And when I went to have our audio, it was just like all like white noise. We couldn't.
It was scuffed.
It was just completely ruined. Like we could have had there's a few options I had. So for our 50th episode, for having these people's time to come onto our show, well, I didn't want to waste their time. So getting rid of the episode, just not having it, wasn't an option.
No.
Redoing it, I don't want to use their time again. That wasn't an option. So what the other option was is just
redoing our audio.
Completely redoing our audio. So for a 50-minute episode, I had to re-say everything and put it back into this episode and have it seem like it was still a natural conversation. And I had the day off. I think it was like wet weather or something, so I had the day off. And it took me literally all day. I think it took me 12 hours to put this 50-hour episode back together.
And you did it extremely well.
And like I said at the end, I'm like, all right, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but I redid all the audio. Hope it was a good episode. And people sort of sent me messages about, oh my God, I didn't realize until the end.
No, yeah, you did it from start to finish all over again.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
And I got to admit, after that, never again. That was hard because I had to listen to
that was beyond the effort.
Yeah, so they would say something and I like stop it, hit record. Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, cool. And like, I'll put that in, and they'll say the next sentence. Yeah. So where did you see your game going? I'll put that in. It just, oh my God, it was a nightmare. So, as far as editing goes, that's why I was so happy when I got the Rodecaster.
Yeah.
Like it makes it so much easier. It makes our sound better. It makes the editing process kind of just irrelevant. It's just it's amazing. I want to be sponsored by Rode. I really do. That's what we need a sponsorship by. I can talk about them all day. I love them.
We'll have to talk with them. Rode, please.
Like, oh boys, we don't care about you. You're
they're fucking world recognized now. I don't think we'd get much recognition.
No, of course we wouldn't. Yeah.
Dream guest host. There's only one answer for this for the both of us.
Of course.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yeah, Reggie. We want Reggie. We really do.
Yep.
We would have loved him for this episode 200. Like, I was looking into it, but I was looking. He's a part of a he's a part of a company that, like, if you want to talk to him, you reach out to them and they'll organize it for you. But they're very much organized towards like universities, public speaking and stuff like that. And he's a paid person to come to your thing. Yeah. So I was looking at the prices. I think he costs like, I think it starts, so it might even end, I'm not sure, but it's roughly about $75,000. If you want him to talk at a university or something, I'm like,
oh man.
Tell you what, no, because he was like a special guest on a Xbox podcast. I forgot the name of Gamertag Radio. He was on Gamertag Radio. So they're a way bigger show than us. They've been around for 10 plus years. They've been doing it a long time.
I'll just surf with I hope we catch his attention. Like, Reggie, I'd love to pay you 75 grand. If I had 75 grand, I'd pay you 75 grand.
That man's a millionaire. He doesn't need our life savings to come on our podcast.
No, man, I really just, I want to talk to you just about Nintendo and, I don't want to know about your business practices and stuff like that because that is something for the universities. So if you ever do come on the show, I just want to talk to you about your favorite video games, man. That's kind of what it is. And if you're ever interested in that and you happen to hear this, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to get your input on some video games.
Yeah, so I sort of looked into it. I couldn't find anything. I wasn't going to go and stalk him for his email address and stuff.
No.
So what I did is I put out a tweet. It went nowhere, as I expected. I just sort of like threw something in the dark. Say, never know, it might stick. He might go onto his phone one day and go, oh yeah, I'll go on that random podcast. I got fucking time, apparently.
Yeah.
But, that is definitely someone we would love to have. That is Reggie Fils-Aimé, just because I think like a lot of reasons we respect him. He's had a big presence in just like Nintendo in general throughout our years of growing up.
Yeah.
And also another reason, he is like one of the big figures that is English speaking as well. Like a lot of other figures at Nintendo are from Japan. They speak Japanese. They have translators. Mm-hmm. Of course we'll love to talk to like Miyamoto and Anuma and stuff, but that'll be pretty much impossible kind of for what we're doing over the internet.
Absolutely.
And you know, of course, they're way too big as well. I think we have more of a chance with Reggie because he's retired, so he can, on his own merit, to some extent, be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's right.
If he's got a weekend away from the kids or something, he's I'm on Skype. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, that's
who knows? So yeah, if anyone out there would like us to have Reggie on the podcast, please. Just send him a tweet. I don't know. Do what you can. Do it. That's all we can do.
It's a 15-minute phone call, man. I would just like to say hello to Reggie and thank him for the years.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, I know he's obviously not at Nintendo anymore, but Reggie, growing up, he was sort of an idol of the industry for us, and you know, he was a driving force of a lot of jokes that we got as a kid. We had fun with. Nobody else around us really got into him as much. But we definitely did. We loved Reggie as a icon of Nintendo, and it really would just be our dream to talk with him.
Absolutely, yeah. So Reggie, if you are listening to this, come on the House of Mario. Would love to have you. Would love to discuss Nintendo and all that stuff with you. So come on. All right, so that comes to the end of Brendan's questions, but this will be a great time to bring on Brendan White's message here on the House of Mario. So let's play it away. Brendan, fire it away, my friend.
Hello. It is Brendan here from 8-Bit. Sadly, the Hunger Gamers are only backed by a 69 Power Star rating, but we aspire and hope to one day get to the level of you two fine young gentlemen. The House of Mario podcast. What a journey it's been. 120 Power Star rating, 200 episodes, countless laughs, and constant great moments with every single one of those 200 episodes. All delivered by two genuine good blokes who are not only legends in the Aussie video game podcast scene, but also life in general. Bryce and Drew, congratulations on hitting this huge milestone. May there be many more in your future. Just no Charizards when I'm breaking cards with you, alright? Because they're all mine, baby. Keep up the fantastic work. Much love. Stay humble and stay hungry.
And look, that man has such an attractive beard that he got my Charizard today. So,
yeah, he purchased it. Well done, Brendan.
Yeah, he did, and I know he'll take care of it. Brendan, thank you so much, man. Honestly, going into podcasting and us joining 8-Bit for the time that we were there, honestly, you know, I wouldn't have met half the people. Drew wouldn't have connected with the people as much. What you tried to pull together at the time was, you know, huge, and it definitely brought us all together at PAX that one year and definitely set us up for a future of talking with people and getting together and all that. I have to accredit a lot to you in that sense. So thank you, man. Honestly, I think from both Drew and I, we can both say that you're a wonderful like a paragon in this community in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
you absolutely are. And I love talking with you every time I get the opportunity. And as I said to you earlier today, next beer's on me, man. It'd be good to see you again.
Yeah, you get 2 rounds. I'll buy you a beer as well, man.
Exactly.
Like I mentioned it before, but just when he actually lent us that sound recorder and sent it to us, that was definitely like an eye-opening experience. Just been like, this guy is just so friendly, so supportive.
He has been since the start.
That he'll do that. Whereas like I've got to pay that on somewhere because that was just unreal. So yeah, dude, thank you so much. You were one of the most friendly guys in Australia.
Absolutely.
My God, that beard, like you said. Oh my God.
He's got a fucking beautiful salt and pepper beard, mate. It's good, man.
Certainly is. All right, so we might have to get through a couple of these just before we jump onto the next segment as well. So also from 8-Bit, also still there, doing putting in work. Absolutely fantastic podcast. Jono, he was doing put in work weekly, getting a different guest every week. And while we were able to do this every week, I could rely on you coming over, and if you had something to do, or if I had something to do, like, get someone else, you know, and they'll talk about Nintendo. Look, bloody Mario Odyssey. It's fun, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty good. But Jono, he had to actually get someone on, think about a topic for that certain person, interview them and all that. And I always had a lot of respect for him able to be able to hit that weekly goal.
And he's hit some huge names too.
Yeah, just some absolutely massive names. His podcast was successful. It's just absolutely awesome to see. And I've got a lot of respect for Jono. He's helped us throughout the years. I've just like, hey, what do you think about this? And he'll give me some advice. He had some previous podcasting experience before putting in work. So just an
unreal bloke. Very, very, very smart man. Very accomplished. He's an author. He recently wrote Trigger Witch, which I talked about last bonus episode.
Yep.
Absolutely love that game. Haven't had the opportunity to talk about it on a normal episode yet, but looking forward to it. And yeah, so let's hear from John O'Peck.
The House of Mario, or Thom, as we sometimes call it, is a great Nintendo podcast. Great hosts, great conversations, great Australian podcast. Not unlike the Great Barrier Reef or the Great Australian Bite, Great Ocean Road, except, Nintendo podcast. Great. So congratulations to Drew and Bryce and Mario, I guess. You've been putting in work, pun intended. It's cool to see such a big celebration for this achievement, and I love that you're acknowledging it because it's not an easy thing to do. You've been committed, you've had a great time with it, you've set yourselves apart, you've built a community. None of that's easy, so congrats, and I hope to be back on here again for episode 300, or maybe like later this week for the Trigger Witch spoiler cast. Please buy Trigger Witch.
Thank you so much, Jono. Very much appreciated. Yes, a Trigger Witch spoiler cast will be coming after this episode. If you've finished Trigger Witch, if you're a fast man and you've got through the game nice and quick. Yes.
Trigger that witch, bro.
Trigger that witch. Yes. Very fun game. Very fun game. By Rainbite. So yeah. All right, Bryce. So let's keep moving on. So we've had another submission for the House of Mario skits, which is a lot of fun. Bryce, I've sent this one to you. When I heard this one, I'm like, I laughed a lot. I had a few tears of laughter, just how ridiculous these guys got. So this is a skit submission by Delfino Durians and Wacko Jacko. They've been on the show before, so let's have a listen.
Hey, Toad!
Yes, Toad?
Are you tired of listening to the same old crap on the radio?
Why, yes I am! Especially when they play Bruno Mars and Michael Bublé on repeat every 30 minutes. I wish there was something better that I could put in my ears when I'm driving to work.
Have you ever considered listening to a podcast?
A podcast? What's that?
Well, I'm glad you asked!
Are you going to tell me or what?
Calm down, Toad! Podcasts are like watching TV without using your eyeballs! You can learn new things from them, revisit old things from the past, or catch up on the latest news!
Oh, that sounds great! There's just one problem!
What's that?
I don't know what kind of podcast to listen to, and I can't listen to too many, because I have to attend the Mario meetings at my friend's house.
Well, there you go. I have just a podcast for you.
Huh?
It's called The House of Mario. Every week they talk about the latest Nintendo news and revisit their favorite Nintendo games.
Sounds great, but how do I know that I can trust The House of Mario?
They have 120 Power Star rating. That means over 120 people have given this show a big thumbs up.
Okay, but was it 120 toads that rated it? Because all I see lately are toads, and I'm getting sick of them.
Oh, that's not nice to say, Toad. You're a toad, too.
Yeah, I know.
But never mind all that. It's not just toads that enjoy the podcast. There's listeners all around the world that just love to listen to it.
Wow, this sounds great. I can't wait to film as a silent bystander.
Well, what if I told you you could enter the House of Mario yourself?
What?
You can join the House of Mario Discord server and meet up with the show's hosts and housemates for a fun gaming community.
I'm going to join it right now.
Hooray! But wait, Toad, now I have a question for you.
Yeah?
Do we even have ears?
Let's not talk about it. This voice brought to you by Wacko Jacko.
Okay, the idiot who kills his throat with doing toad voices. Also brought to you by Pepsi, the drink that helped me get through this crueling throat torture. Yeah, There you go.
Yay! Voice recording brought to you by Peach Supreme.
Thank you. I'm going to go enjoy some peach tea now.
Mixed by Delfino Durians.
So thank you very much to Wacko Jacko and Delfino Durians for recording that one.
You told me to peep on that, and I was not expecting it. Like, you're like, dude, go in the Google Drive and open that skit. And I'm like, all right. And then I was utterly impressed with just how much Toad talking was going on. And I was like, holy hell, I could not imagine having a larynx after that. What the hell?
I don't think they did. I think that's the biggest problem. It's just like when I first listened to it as well, I'm like, oh, look, they submitted the skit because I just love how people are actually putting these in. It's just like the Toad voices because Wacko Jacko in the past, he's even come into like online gaming lobbies when we're just playing like Mario Kart. He's like, okay, it's like, oh my god, just turn down your volume, man. Just like burst all of our ears. Just Jesus Christ. But in the skit, it was really funny. But what I thought was even funnier was they just like made an ad for us.
They did.
It's like, do you know what a podcast is? It's like, no, I don't. Tell me all about it. So it's like, we're going to play that on like Star FM or something on the local radio station.
Oh my god, just send it into there.
Yes.
Holy crap.
So it's just like a 2-minute ad. It's like, how long does this freaking ad go for? But I will listen to the House of Mario when I get home. That's for sure. So really do appreciate that, guys. That was really funny. That was good.
Beautiful.
I appreciated the voice.
Chef's kiss.
If you would like to submit some more Toad skits, you're always welcome. I think that's going to be something we're going to be open to. If you guys want to make a skit, we'll play it on the show.
Absolutely.
I know it's a lot of effort, so don't expect it for a normal episode particularly, but the doors are open.
Look, we've got that Google Drive there now, right? Just throw it in. Just throw it in. If you guys come up with something and you're just like, man, I would really like to do this myself, you can do it.
You can do it, man.
You can absolutely do it. I mean, obviously, we'll screen it first before we put it in the episode, just in case.
Well, yeah. Well, if you're going to talk about, don't know, Hitler's penis, we're not going to actually put that on there. All right.
You just did, but
hey, I didn't do a skit about it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, no, it's definitely up on the roll for possibility.
Definitely. So let's check out another submission by Dane Peavy. This is a nice congratulations message.
Dane Peavy.
And we love Dane Peavy at the House of Mario. He does an absolutely fantastic podcast, Putting in Blue, which is all about mental health awareness.
Putting in blue.
I said putting in blue. You got to put it in. Pushing through blue.
Pushing through blue.
Oh, look at that. John O'Peck's still on
You're
the
getting
line.
tired too.
I must be. All right, so let's hear from Dane Peavy.
Hey legends, what's going on? It's Dane here, coming at you from a Saturday morning at the House of Peavy. It's a busy one, and apologies for the poo-poo audio. I've sort of left this last minute, that's on me. But I wanted to give you guys a shout out because congratulations so much on 200 episodes. That is absolutely huge. So well done to you two legends, Drew and Bryce. First and foremost as well, thank you so much for having me on as part of the journey, as part of the podcast. Also as a listener, you guys have been fantastic. You're in my weekly rotation and you're always bringing that love and joy to everything towards the community. Pokémon, Nintendo, all the things alike. So thank you so much for continuing to do that. And yeah, big shout out to the community as well. The community of the people that you've created and gathered have been so super positive and supportive, and it's fantastic to be part of that community. So well done to you guys. And yeah, so congratulations as I feed my 2-year-old son and I have my 5-year-old son in the background doing Bob the Builder. Nice one. Well done to you guys. Much love. Take care of yourself and speak to you soon.
It's okay, Dane. I feel that on a personal level.
Yeah,
mate.
literally last episode Bryce recorded doing pretty much the same thing. It's funny because like last episode you're like, oh, I've got to go. I'm like, okay. Like you had to go on and like stop your son from doing something.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, he was fucking drawing. He got like his crayons. He's like drawing on the couch. I'm like, oh
yeah.
Oh damn it. But yeah. I absolutely feel it. No, thank you so much, Dane. Honestly, dude, Just you're an absolute hype man for just about literally anything that that we go across. We have a little group chat going on for for Pokemon card stuff, trading card stuff or whatever. He is the hype man. He's like, I want to see the next pack battle. I want to see this. He's like, come on, boys, let's get this Charizard. He is really he's the hype man, and holy shit, he's he's digging a hole with those Pokemon cards. Be careful with yourself, Dan.
I've made the decision to stop. I noticed Dane's buying magnetic cases for booster boxes. I'm like, you haven't stopped. You're still enjoying it very much.
Good luck, Dane.
Good luck, Dane. I wish you the best, my man. But we've had some absolute fantastic episodes with Dane on the podcast.
Absolutely.
I remember doing an episode with him talking about a buyer's guide to the Nintendo Switch. I don't know if that was his first episode he was on.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was his first episode. That was with Eric Zach as well. God knows how long ago, 2 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
But recently been doing the Elite Trainer Box battles, which have been going up on the House of Mario, RSS feed as bonus episodes and the YouTube channel as well. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, we had so much fun. Dane is one of those guys out there who I just respect so much. I'm so happy that we're able to meet through doing this. Yeah. I think Dane is another guy who started pushing through Blue. And when he got into the podcast game, I was like, yes, because he was always someone out there who was supportive of us, supportive of 8-Bit, supportive of a lot of people in our communities. And I was just so stoked to see him jump into it. And I think he's really found his groove doing it. And he takes a nice casual approach to his podcast. He does it monthly, but if he's too busy or whatever, he doesn't push himself too much. But I think his sort of subject matter with mental health, I think it's a fine subject just to put out when you need to.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's got a nice backlog as well. So if you want to go and check it out, definitely go and check it out. Pushing Through Blue, absolutely excellent podcast. There's definitely some times where I'm just when I listen to that, and it's just it just puts it into perspective. And I think that's a very powerful thing that Dane is creating. So fantastic to him. All right, so let's move on, Bryce. Let's talk about some Nintendo games that are coming out recently. Wait, do you hear that, Bryce? No. You don't? I can hear it in the distance, but it's getting closer.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, no. Oh, shit. They're back.
A loud knock banged on the door.
Who's there?
Drew said with a tremble of fear in his voice.
It's us, Wario and Waluigi.
Bryce stood up and pointed towards the door.
After all this time, the consequences for reading that fanfiction during episode 25 have finally caught up with us.
Unfortunately, there wasn't much the boys could do. They were already partway through their 200th episode celebrations and had no choice but to let the two strange Nintendo men into their recording room.
Bryce, I'm afraid we're going to have to let them in.
Bryce went over to the door, his hand trembling, knees shaking and forehead running with sweat. IGN would have rated it 7 out of 10 for too much water. He reached out and grabbed the door handle, slowly turning it until the men were able to burst into the room.
Waha! Waluigi #1!
There they were, standing in the house of Mario, were two beautifully moustached men, each with their own perfectly fitting overalls and cute hats.
Wario time!
The short yellow overalled man said while picking his nose.
Waluigi #1!
The tall purple overalled man said.
All right, you cheeky fellas.
Drew chuckled.
Why have you broken into our home?
Wario stared Drew right in the eyes, his nose pulsating with mucus running down his chest.
We're here to cause some trouble. Since your fan fiction reading involving us, we've been painted in a decent light. We aren't the spaghetti peppering buffoons you made us out to be,
he said with a tear running down his eye. Drew sympathized with their situation. Not once did he consider how their actions may affect these poor fictional characters' lives.
Listen, boys, I get it,
Drew said.
For the last 3 years, you've lived in fear, your friends have viewed you differently, no one wants to hire you for a job, and your wives have left you.
Yeah, we're sorry.
It's too late now! Waluigi, do your thing!
Wario instructed. Waluigi jumped up on the table Drew and Bryce were sitting at. He undid his pants and positioned his buttocks gently against the microphone.
Waluigi, you don't have to do this.
Drew pleaded.
You're right. We don't. But we want to.
Waluigi clenched his cheeks and tensed his colon to let out a monstrous fart. Waluigi chuckled. The boys' microphones were now peppered in smelly Waluigi farts.
How are we going to finish the show now?
Drew sighed. All of a sudden, from another room in the house of Mario, Reggie fills a May burst in to save the day. He said while winking towards the boys,
"Hi, I'm Reggie from Nintendo of America."
insinuating he was there to help. Reggie puffed up his chest and his eyes started to glow. He then let out his booming voice that sent Wario and Waluigi flying out the window.
Yes, my body was ready. And what was just one small step for me was one giant step for expanding the universe of video games.
Reggie fell to one knee, weakened after the big battle.
Reggie, you finally left your rec room,
Drew said. Reggie stood still staring at the boys. He then reached into his jacket pocket for a pen, wrote a note on a piece of paper, and left without saying a word.
What does it say?
Bryce asked.
It says I'll see you in my rec room at the end of the episode. Oh, thank God for Reggie, man.
Oh, Jesus
My
Christ.
God.
If it weren't for him, we'd be dead.
We would be. God, can you believe they come back? Like, we talked about it in episode 25, but that was ridiculous.
Oh, look, man. Once Waluigi lost his taco stand, that was it, man.
Yeah.
That was it. Wario's only source of income was Waluigi's taco stand.
Did Reggie's blast get rid of the smell from your microphone?
Yeah, it did. Thank God.
Yeah, mine's alright too. God,
no garlic. That's good. No garlic.
Well, at the end of the day, we read a fan fiction, and that haunted us for a long time. Everyone sort of.
It will come back to haunt you guys.
It will come back to haunt you. So if you're ever going to start a podcast, don't read a fan fiction.
No.
At least read it about a nice person.
Yeah.
But
It's something very vanilla. Vanilla ice cream, buddy.
I went back, I guess the Wario fan fiction is something that's really sort of plagued us throughout our podcasting journey. Episode 25, we decided to read a fan fiction, and I went back and listened to it to get that bit of a snippet for the skit. And it was funny. I was like, look, I'm going to stand by it. I found it funny. I found reading it funny.
We're into toilet humor, though.
I found reading it funny, and 3 years later, I found listening to it funny. But where we went wrong is we went too far.
Yes, we did.
There was a bit where we should have stopped, and it would have been fine to continue on with our lives. But we went a bit too far, and it went way too dark.
Yes, it did.
So episode 25, if you want to listen to that, it's there. Go and listen to it.
Don't recommend.
Yeah. Then it was episode 59 where I actually got Dylan Blight, Dash, and Paul James on. And I'm like, tell you what, boys, I'm going to get you to read a fan fiction. And that was really funny as well. That was really funny. I found it funny, but I don't know, where we are 4 years later, do you find it suitable to be like, let's read another fan fiction?
I mean, I don't think it'll ever happen again. I think it was like one of those things we did a one-off of, and the record of it is always there. So we're not reading that of our past.
No, well, the thing is now we are immortalized as a fan fiction. We have made ourselves a fan fiction for episode 200.
That's right.
So well done to us. Well done to us.
Yeah.
I guess
are the fan fiction now, boys.
Just breaking the fourth wall. What did you think of that skit,
That
Bryce?
was very good, man.
you hadn't listened to it before. I put it together.
No, that was very good. Enjoyed it a lot.
I just love putting them together and just looking at Bryce, just seeing what he laughs at, what I can get him to giggle at.
I couldn't get over the IGN comment.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be a standout one. Bryce is sweating. IGN would have rated it 7 out of 10 for too much water. Oh, God.
Beautiful.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed putting that together. It took probably longer than anyone would think, but it was good fun.
It was very good, though, yeah.
Over 3 hours into the podcast. Will anyone hear it? I don't know.
We'll find out.
All right. So let's listen to a message from our friend Luke, who's been in the House of Mario Discord for a long time, been following us for just as long, I think. Since the early days. Luke, he's always been a great supporter of ours, and I remember in 2017 when we started the podcast, went to PAX, caught up with the other castle community, and he recognised me for my voice.
Yes.
So, do you do a podcast? I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, oh yeah, I recognise you. I've listened to it. I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
Especially back then, where it's just like the concept of a listener was so alien. So let's hear from Luke.
Hey Drew and Bryce and listeners, it's Luke here. You may remember me from episode 33, and the PAX 2019 episode that I only recorded half of. But I'm just sending in a message saying congrats to the both of you for reaching 200 episodes. It's a very good achievement. I've been listening to the show since pretty early on, so I can say you've definitely improved a lot over all this time. So I'm happy to keep listening and supporting you guys over at patreon.com/idruby. So keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Luke.
Yeah, thank you, man. And just like the support from anyone and everyone just feels it means so much.
Yeah,
just from all of us.
It doesn't matter in what way you support us, whether it be Patreon or whether you just listen to the show and comment and sort of get in on the community. In any sense, we appreciate every bit of it. Like I know, I'm like, Drew should really stop looking at those numbers, but looking at those numbers sometimes, and I'm just like, man, I find it hard to believe I even have 10 of those.
You've got all of them. You're on it.
Yeah, that's right. But you know what? That's what I mean, though, right? Is that like it's hard to believe in some. I know we've been doing it for a long time, and that sort of dedication does pay off. But like, I don't know how anybody could stand listening to me for 10 minutes. So
I mean, I put up with it. So I guess
but you're you. That's a different story. I have to put up with listening to you too.
Yeah, I know. That true. That'd be way harder than putting up with yourself, I dare say.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah, no. All Bryce is putting on his onesie back on. When he came on, I was really hoping he was going to record the podcast in this koala bear onesie. He's got nice little koala bears all over it. It's nice and blue and bright. If you're looking at the video version, which no one is because I see the numbers, don't you worry about that. Yeah, Bryce is looking very nice.
Wearing a nice koala hoodie.
Yeah, very nice.
It's nice and warm.
Looks warm. Is it getting a bit cold in here? I've turned off the heater for the audio installation.
No. I'm just prepping. I'm just prepping.
You're getting ready to leave.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like it's a bit over midnight now.
Yeah, then that's pretty late. Yeah. All right, so we've got a few more messages to get to before we go to Reggie's Rec Room. He did leave us a letter, which we have to go and read. But let's hear from our friend Metadox, who we've actually mentioned a few times already on the podcast. Good man. Let's hear from him.
Now, I've got a lot I want to say, but I don't think there's anyone who could say it better than Bryce himself, so take it away, buddy. Well said, you silly goose. Alright, happy 200, boys.
You daft punk. Can't wait to tear you apart in this Pokémon episode now.
Yeah, so I laugh so much. The few times I'm like, oh, Bryce, you bloody silly goose. And then it's like, a few people have really embraced it with the goose emojis in Discord, and now Meta actually bringing it to the show itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, if Bryce is a goose, I'm just like a fucking like dumb little duck. Like, seriously. It's like, what am I compared to Bryce? I'm like a duck. Like, you're that much taller than me, so you're the goose. So I'm like this little duck next to you. Quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack, quack.
I'm like honk. You're like quack.
That's what our podcast is, just this duck and a goose.
Duck and a goose.
Back and forth from one another.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, thank you very much for that, Meta. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. We had a skit and all that before, so you've put a lot towards episode 200, so we definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So let's move into Reggie's Rec Room. Let's read his letter and hear a little bit more from our community as well.
Hi, Nintendo fans. Reggie here. Thank you for your never-ending support, for giving me a mushroom kingdom full of incredible memories that I will never forget. Ever.
All right, bro. So Reggie's Rec Room. Reggie did leave us here. It seems that he's left. So what does he say? So he's got a letter here, and he says, "Sorry, boys. I had to duck out for some yummy schnitzels, but I'll be back eventually. In the meantime, my question is, what is the future of the House of Mario? Where do you want to be at episode 250 and 300? So, Bryce, I'll throw it to you. Where do you want to see the show in the future? Where do you want to be as a person in the future, etc., etc.? Let's look towards the horizon and try and work out where we're going."
Man, I just want the show to continue as how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know that sounds sappy and sort of like whatever, but the thing is like we can grow and grow and grow and grow, and I'll be fine with that. But as long as it never clouds the vision of the fact that we're just two dumb idiots behind a microphone. Like, I don't think anything that we've ever done in this podcast is ever going to make us very professional in the eyes of like Nintendo or something like that to host an actual podcast. So it is sort of a case of like, I do just want to continue being this show being what it is. I don't care how many episodes it is ahead. I don't care if we get to episode 500 and we're still two dumb idiots. That's all that's ever really mattered.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's... I'm happy where we are at episode 200. I feel like we've hit a good rhythm within the last year, especially. Just getting stuff out, even though that like Nintendo themselves, like, you know, we haven't been that happy with their products necessarily. They've had some really great games, but you know, for the most part, we haven't been as like happy as we would be necessarily maybe when the Switch launched, or whatever. But like we said, that's kind of expected from the Wii U sort of decline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy with how it's gone at the moment, and of course, we'll keep growing how we are. But we've got a few things sort of in the works for the future, which I will touch on. But let's where we got here. So we've got a favourite moment of the show from Delphino Durians, who was in the earliest skit, being one of the Toad voices.
Mm-hmm.
So let's chuck that one on, and we'll talk about that as well before we get into some of the future plans we have.
I've been listening to the House of Mario since you guys did that ARMS interview with the professional ARMS player. I want to say that was back in 2018, 2017. Let's say 2018. So I've been listening for about 3 years. But one of my favorite moments from the show was actually one recently. And I suppose the framework is that I am indeed in America. I'm not like most of your fans from Australia. So when I was first listening, I was like, whoa, these accents are crazy. But I've gotten very used to listening to them to the point where it's completely natural to me. And it really doesn't impact when you talk about video games much, aside from like prices, because you'll be talking about it's like, oh, this ain't too bad. It's just like 98. I'm like, what the heck? That's a crazy rip. But I never think about it much, except recently when you were trying to teach Yoshi how to poo in a toilet. Because first of all, Drew, I don't know if you've had a child before, but the more you ramble on and try to explain things, the less the kid's gonna listen. So you gotta be simple and direct, use simple words. You know, you can't make it a big long tangent about how they're pooing all over the bloody carpet and all these things. You can't super stretch it out, you know. You don't have to teach them how to wipe, okay? In such big wordy sentences, okay? Teaching kids is a lot different. But anyways, secondly, this is the best part of me, is that I'm so used to calling Yoshi, Yoshi. And that's how you pronounce it in his game. Yoshi! But you guys keep calling him Yoshi. Alright, Yoshi, we're gonna learn how to poo in the toilet. Poo in the loo. I just can't get over it. I listened to the beginning of that episode over and over again just to hear Yoshi. Alright, Yoshi. So good.
All right, listen. Okay.
I was just onto it straight away. All right.
There's plenty of cases where he's just like Yashel, and then there.
See, that is exactly where I'm coming from. I listened to this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we say Yoshi not because of our accent. In fact, if you listen to the podcast, there are probably some instances of me saying Yoshi because I've just listened to.
You're trying to adapt. Yeah,
I'm listening to like American podcasts, and I accidentally say Yoshi, but all I hear when I hear Lothal is Yoshi.
I want to take it in the context of Yoshi's story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When he speaks, when he says it at the end in the fruit screen, when he's gobbling all up, and he's like, he goes, Russell.
Yes.
That's what he does. Now, on the same context, you get into the sewer pipe page of that game. And the background music is and then it just goes Yoshi, Yoshi, Yoshi. So I understand, but they really they miscombobulate the word Yoshi so much. Like, it's inconsistent.
I don't think it's an issue whether it's American versus Australian.
No.
It's just between, how do you pronounce the O? Do you say O or O? We say Yoshi. Yoshi.
Yeah.
But like, I don't hear Yoshi, you know?
Yeah.
Do you hear Yoshi?
No.
I hear Yoshi.
Yeah, I hear Yoshi.
Yoshi.
Yeah. It
Yoshi.
sounds like ya almost.
Yoshi.
Yeah.
Yoshi.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lang.
Anyway, enough constipation noises.
Yeah.
No, that is just the way that we hear it. I honestly, maybe it's just conditioning because like we've always heard it as Russell, but like in terms of like promotional material and stuff like that in Australia, like, and I can't say there's a lot of it around Yoshi, but I think it's always been Yoshi in promotional material. It's just because that is the way that it sounds like when he's saying it. That's just the way we're conditioned to think about it. And when we read it, we just read it as I don't necessarily think that's down to the accent. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, because I don't say it like my Australian accent. I don't go, bloody hell, the Yoshi. I don't go the O. I just go Yoshi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a funny little thing just to, I guess, to keep in mind just between different countries and how they say different names. It's a very similar debate where it's like the Italians, they go Mario, where all the Americans go Mario. And we say Mario as well. We go, we're like Mario. And that's how, it's me, Mario. That's how he pronounces it there too.
I'm like on the spot, and it's like too long into this podcast to think of like similarities, but there's plenty of words that are like that, and it's not necessarily down to accent. I think it's just down to how we're introduced to the word. Like, and like Drew was saying earlier, when you hear it from other sources and you see Yoshi. This is Yoshi's newest adventure. In this adventure, he climbs onto a toilet and poops.
That's a great game.
Get it on the Nintendo Switch today. You can find him pooping in your nearest supermarket aisle. Like, that's the thing is like, if we hear it as that in promotional material, and if we hear it like that in promotional material constantly, eventually we probably will adapt. But the problem is that like, because we've been conditioned to hear it as Yoshi for so long, because especially for me with Yoshi's story, that's always how I've always heard it. That's always how I've always heard it. And that will never leave my brain.
Looking at the actual word itself, like, the E, when the E comes at the end of the word, we're going about the primary school at the end of the word. When the E comes at the end of the word, does it become an O or an O? It becomes an O, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yo. So if it was Yoshe, it'd be Yosh.
Yeah, so that's why I see it as well. When I read it, I'm not the best reader, by any stretch of the imagination, but there's no E there, so it doesn't become an O. I don't know. Someone be out there correct us just either way, I dare say, depending on where you come from and what your upbringing is with the word. But I do remember the day where I did become sort of aware that other parts of the world say Yoshi differently.
They say Yoshi or Yoshi, yeah. And I mean, like, that's definitely true in NA. They say Yoshi.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And it even started to rub off on me a little bit just from listening to gaming podcasts in America where they say Yoshi. And I found myself slipping a little bit. I'm like, I'll bring it back to Yoshi.
The thing is that, like, Yoshi is technically not right if you want to take it from that own perspective, because at the end of the day, you've got to think of Japan. Like, you think of those names like Yoshida or, something like that. The O is 100% more pronounced. And I understand that. But like, yeah, just from that perspective of like, I see Yoshi saying Yoshi in Yoshi's story.
Yeah, I hear him say, because I played it because I listened to Delfino's sort of memories before.
Yeah.
And I played it to Chantel, and she laughed. And I actually went onto YouTube and looked at Yoshi saying it like in slow-mo. And it's one of the most horrifying things you can ever look at. Just Yoshi saying just in slow motion. It's like you can just hear the man be like, Yoshi. And like all I can hear is Yoshi, but she can hear both. So I'm like, I don't know.
It's probably like that what was it? Green Needle and Brainstorm thing. Do you ever see that? It's like a Ben 10 watch, and depending on what you hear, you could hear Green Needle or Brainstorm.
Yeah, right. I don't know about that one exactly, but obviously the one, like the visual ones with the blue and was it orange dress? Was it?
No, I type in.
So I'm just going to show Yoshi slow mo. Yoshi slowed down. Okay. Because this one is something just to.
Oh, it's gonna.
Okay, the idiot who kills his throat.
I've got this playing still.
Whoopsie.
Oopsie doosey.
Okay. All right.
Whoa, whoa. He, wow. He, ho, how. He, ho, how.
This is Yoshi slowed down.
He, boom. Yay. Yeah.
Say your name, goddammit.
Yeah. Hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Yeah. Hey.
God damn it.
Oh, whoa. Oh, yeah. Whoa. You. Hello. Oh. Ha.
You're not going to say your name, are you?
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa.
All right, you're not going to say your
We're
name.
on crack at this point.
All right, you're not going to say your name, are you, Yoshi? Anyway, I guess that's there's no winner in this debate. Just
it's the same idiom as this. Like, I'm going to play this. All right, hang on. Max. Thank you.
There you go. What do you want to write in? Green Day.
It should be Green Needle.
Brainstorm.
Now, yeah. So basically, what you got to do, and like, if you haven't, yeah. Every time it goes off, just think one or the other. Like, Green Needle.
Yeah, I can.
Brainstorm. Greenstorm. No, doesn't work.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, no, I heard that. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It could just be a case of that.
Yeah, I think it was. Like Chantel, she could hear like both. I'm like, I don't know. All I can hear is this because I'm biased at this point. I want to prove a point.
Yeah. No, I think it could very much be something like that. But obviously to quite a lesser level. That is very blatant, and you're like, how the hell does that even work? But yeah, it's just the way brain registers things, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
So if you're thinking Yoshi, if you're thinking it's Yoshi your entire life, you're probably going to hear him say Yoshi, right? But if you've been thinking Yoshi, you're going to hear him say Yoshi.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. There's that debate out the way. All right. So I guess continuing on Reggie's Rec Room, just about some of the future stuff that's going on. So I know like this is 3.5 hours into the show. So I guess just thank you very much for joining us. And I know that not everyone's going to get this far necessarily. So I'm quite confident putting this news out there. But I guess like I've only told such a small amount of people, Bryce being one of them, and my parents, close family. But I haven't told anyone this really yet. But early next year, my wife and I will be having a baby.
Yeah.
Which I'm really, really excited about.
And Uncle Bryce become around.
Yeah.
Jack, what you doing?
Be Uncle Bryce getting around. So yeah, no, really excited about that at the moment. But we haven't put it out on social media or anything like that. So if you hear this early, just if you want to congratulate me or whatever, put it in a private DM or whatever. But really excited about that. So I guess what this goes on to is it's going to change a few things going on next year. I don't know what to expect necessarily. Bryce has had kids for since we started the podcast.
And they do make things that little bit harder.
Yeah, I bet. So like, you know, when Bryce has had family events, whatever, and able to sort of like hold down the podcast and bring on some guests and stuff. But going on next year, like if say like the couple of weeks I have off to be with my wife and baby, might not necessarily be able to be on the podcast, and who knows? I don't know what Bryce is going to be up to. He might be busy as well.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I really don't want the House of Mario to fall in a hole necessarily.
No, and I don't think it will.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's a really important part of my life. It's a really important part of your life.
Absolutely.
We want to keep it going, regardless of if we're on it or not.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will be for the most part, but we are
Absolutely. Yeah. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it work no matter what. But if this is basically Dire Straits' situation of like, look, if we can't get together because of like a particular thing, we just can't do it.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, and that is what happens when it comes to, having a family and having children and all that. And I think most people understand that anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. So like next year we are looking to set up something a bit bigger, something to be a bit more supportive, a bit more structure to allow us to grow, have more shows, and also continue the House of Mario going on as it is. For a long time I've wanted to start up podcasts, do some more stuff outside the House of Mario, have like a couple of shows together to like sort of flex different creative outlets, to have more fun and all that type of thing. I've done Cracking Furfies with Ash Wallace. I looked to start a Drew Story, which is an interview show as well, and always looking to keep those shows going. That Cracking Furfies just started a month or so ago.
And it did.
We're having a lot of fun with that. And looking to like grow a platform pretty much to put the House of Mario under, as well as these other shows, and bring on some more people. So we have like a bit of a team. So if one of us is missing, the other person can jump in, and we've got a co-host to talk to.
Yep.
Which would be a big thing. So Crackin' Furfies, that started about a month ago with my good friend Ash Wallace. Ash has been on the podcast before. He's an absolutely fantastic guy. He's one of my favorite people in the world. And I had a conversation with him and said, like, he listens to the show as well, so he's familiar with the show.
Yeah.
And I explained what's going on, saying, next year having a kid might have some weeks missing and stuff, and I know that you're wanting to do this. He's having a lot of fun doing the Cracking Furfies show.
Yeah.
He's wanting to do more. I'm looking to expand what we're doing. So we will be bringing Ash on to do some more sort of semi-permanent stuff on the House of Mario, whether it is the House of Mario spoiler cast, will be coming up within the next month or so. Whenever Ash finishes Skyward Sword, pretty much. That's what we're waiting for.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we are looking to sort of expand our podcasting platform, I guess.
Absolutely.
It's all in the name of fun to, I guess, share our love for video games, for whatever we're going to talk about. And I guess the invite is open to anyone that, well, not anyone, but one of you guys who would like to join us, start your own podcast, etc. We won't be sort of just accepting anyone. It will be someone who is serious about it, who can make the commitment on a certain night to record a podcast, who can be reliable, and be a part of our small team. We do want to keep it small just for, keeping it easy, I guess.
Basically, I think like the general consensus with the setup is that we want to have like a roof for these shows, right?
Yeah.
But if that's sort of the case, and we're going to have a roof for these shows, we need to have some sort of like a little bit of consistency. Sure, absolutely, but we don't want to have to like just constrain people to those specific shows or what have you. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, both of us are. Well, I've been busy for a long time. That's pretty obvious. I don't show up on the show as much when I can't, and that's becoming more prevalent as time goes on because things have been difficult the last few years. If anybody that has been listening to the show knows, and even to this day, like family health has been a huge thing, and then having 2 kids and like having them grow, and it's definitely it's not the end for me. I'm 100% doing the House of Mario, but like we want to be able to have these people that say if you wanted to do a show and you wanted to do it, with the backup of a community that will be happy to sort of jump on and help you, cool. And then if you're available to jump on and help other people with theirs, cool. That's all that really ever needed to be. So in terms of, I guess where I'm sitting with this is that just like, I don't know, say if like, Cracking Furfies was happening, and then we had the House of Mario happening or whatever, and Drew was like, I only have time for one this week. So like, can somebody take over on Cracking Furfies? And then he kind of puts the message out there, and if somebody puts their hands up, they do it. Sweet. If it can't be done, then it can't be done. We'll just have to figure out something else. Or, same with the vice versa at House Mario. We'll try to do that, and if it can't happen, then it can't happen. It doesn't really matter. But we just want to give ourselves the option, especially now that Drew has the opportunity to, start growing his little family.
Breed.
Fuck, man. That's one way to put it. That sort of gives him some wiggle room because it gives us both some wiggle room realistically. I haven't had the wiggle room for a long time. It was kind of like I basically get here or I have to forfeit the show, and sometimes it's been on last minute notice, and I hate doing that. I really hate doing that. So it is just handy to have a group of people that are willing to sort of jump in whenever it's necessary. And I think, especially with both of us being parents, as the show goes forward from now on, it'll just be good.
Yeah. Like doing the show, we talked about what motivates us and stuff, but I think this is something I'm really passionate about. If I lose it, I'll be heartbroken.
Devastated, yeah. And I think both of us will be, because it's something that we've built up forever.
Yeah. So putting this, expanding into the next year, really looking forward to it, meeting some just really motivated people, and continuing to do what we do. I'm happy with how this show is. I'm looking forward to maybe growing some other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
that's what year 5 is going to look like for us, and really looking forward to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Bryce, I really want to thank you for the journey we've gone on. I know it hasn't been easy getting here every week. I know it hasn't been easy maybe putting up with my shit every week, especially in the background where it's like, hey, I need you to do this or whatever. But I really do appreciate it having you here, talking to you each week, having you along the ride for the podcast. It's been one of my just so proud of it over the last 4 years, being able to talk to you about it, how we've grown, everything. So thank you so much.
Realistically, we don't have to thank each other for everything. We do this, and we've always done this as a friendship thing. I know that we had a bit of a short discussion just on a personal level, but my creative influence from the show has been distant for a long time, and only because I don't have like the time and attention to put as much as I like. When we started the show, I only had one kid.
Yeah.
And she was small. It was sort of not a big deal, but now she's going to school, and like during the coronavirus stuff, we had to homeschool her, and we've obviously got the second kid now, and the second kid is he could be quite the handful sometimes because he's a very active kid. That's not a bad thing. That's fine.
Yeah,
but, it is just what it is. It does make things a little bit harder. But that doesn't mean that I've ever lost the care for what we've built, and I know you put a lot of effort in, and I know sometimes I'm a little bit absent, but I think that's probably going to be the both of us soon enough, to be honest with you. Like, we'll still get together, do the show every week, because it is our opportunity to take a break. But a lot of what we've built up has just been based on that core value of friendship and passion, and I guess just fun times. And I'm glad that like that's something we've built together, and we've brought people into experiencing. And I think the only people we really need to thank is the people that have been on the journey with us and just been there for it. I don't think we need to thank each other per se. I think it's very obvious we thank each other for having each other in our lives every fucking day. There's no question about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just want to thank everybody else personally.
Fair enough. Well, I thank you, and you don't thank me. I'll see.
I just told you.
I'm joking.
I don't want to get to episode 200. You're like, oh, thanks for coming on the last 200 episodes. I'm like, I thank you every day, man.
You're like
just in an emotional level,
You're a very long guest. Thanks for coming on the show, mate. Where can they find you on Twitter?
It's a fucking long guest, man.
No, I definitely agree. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the show, for supporting us. Everyone that sent in a message, a skit, all that, for supporting us this episode. this is by far our longest episode we've ever recorded, especially in one hit. Like episode 100 and 150 were long, but they'll split up over a couple of recordings. But this is coming up to 4 hours just talking and talking about Nintendo, ourselves, the community. So I really do appreciate it. And we're going to go on for another 200 episodes. We're going to push on through everyday life, through family, through work, and all that stuff. So definitely appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. So, everyone, if you got to this point, go on to social media or the House of Mario Discord general section and leave the hashtag the House of Mario 200. Help us celebrate 200 episodes. Try and get this episode out to the people. We would really, really appreciate it. But Bryce, that brings us to the end of episode 200 of the House of Mario. Thank you, everyone, very much for listening to the show. If you'd like to follow us, you can follow myself at iDruby. You can follow Bryce at Ivory Revan. And you can follow the House of Mario at the House of Mario to keep updated on the show. You can leave us an Apple Podcast review. You can leave a really nice one or a alright one, but make sure it's 5 stars, for goodness sakes. I will be heartbroken, especially after recording almost 4 hours, and get a bloody 1 star. That'll bloody depress me so much. If you want to get involved in the Discord community, there is an invite in the show notes below. Go on, check it out. It's a great little community. You won't be overlooked like some of those big communities out there. Goodness gracious. Some of those Discord communities you go in and you just don't even get replied to.
No.
Here you do, because God, we're only small.
Good way to look at it.
Yeah, that's right. So, Bryce, the doors to episode 200 of the House of Mario are closed. We'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.